Go.
Uh,
We just revitalized our Discord channel, our server. So go to the current gen Discord server. Go ahead, Dan.
I was gonna say you just put the link. It's really difficult to find server. So the link
in the comment
Tim,
section.
yeah, in the
The link will be in the description,
body,
and we'll put it in the comments. But please go join. We want it to be a very positive place. If you're gonna be a super negative meanie head, we're gonna kick you out. But it's gonna be a very positive place for people to be able to talk with each other, game with each other, and we're just trying to kind of get a refresh on our community a little bit. So we're excited about it. Guys, I don't know if you knew this, but we are actually DLC for Call of Duty Black Ops 6. We are the operators that you can download with. It's podcast guys with beanies and headphones.
Sure. Yeah.
We're part of the problem.
We are part of the problem.
Right. I have a schmog nearby. I can get that out and wrap it around my neck, Yeah.
It'd be so funny, because the operators, and actually I like the designs of all the characters in that game, but to have just normal podcast bros, which there's millions of us out there. I know that.
Of course.
Yeah. They all kind of look like us too.
Yes, they do. All of us look the same. Yeah. They should have characters as podcast bro. Press start. Well, what this is episode 244 of the Current Gen podcast. My name is Tim. I'm here with Dan. I'm here with Kyle. And we all have beanies on tonight.
Right.
Why? You might be asking why. You know what? We don't know why. We're just doing it. So
we're trying to trick you because I could be Tim. He could be
Tim. We're interchangeable.
I could be Kyle. Yeah, we don't know who.
We actually should take pictures of our backgrounds and then green screen each other's backgrounds into each other.
Yeah.
Yep, that sounds like work.
You can edit that in.
Yeah.
It sounds like really good use of our time.
Please spend 37 hours editing that.
Well, we've got some. Listen, there's been some major games that have come out this week. One in particular that we're going to spend some time talking about, but really a couple that are noteworthy, as well as games that didn't necessarily come out this week. But hey, it doesn't always have to be current, as in this week. There's some stuff from the last few weeks that we've been playing that we're going to talk about, and then time permitting, we might do a little video game 20 questions, but if there's not time, that's okay too. But we'll see how things go. But let's just jump in right away with really the only thing that anyone cares about this week. Life is Strange. No, I'm just kidding. It's not Life is Strange.
Yeah.
We will talk about that.
Yeah, we will talk about that. I think all of us care about Life is Strange.
No, we do. We'll talk about it. But none of us are actively playing it. Yeah. Jeff he's liking it. It's very much on my hey, as soon as I have capacity, I'll buy it, but I'm not going to buy it now at full price. On the off chance that maybe there's a little holiday dip in the price or something, we're just going to hang off.
Square Enix goes to go on sale. Yeah.
But anyway, so that is out. But let's talk about Dragon Age Veilguard or the Veilguard. Is it Dragon Age the Veilguard? Is it the?
There's a the there, yeah.
I think there's a the there. Yeah.
There's a the in there. Okay.
Not just any Veilguard, it's the Veilguard.
Yeah. Do they say things in the game like we need to guard the veil?
They have maybe said that, but at no point have they ever said the term Veilguard in this game.
Not yet.
Not yet.
That's gonna be at the end when they say the Veilguard.
It's an Avengers Assemble moment. They're like,
got it.
Yeah, and then Captain America pops.
That's gonna be fun.
Sure.
Yeah. It's gonna be a really fun moment. I can't wait to hear about that. But that game is of course out. It dropped on Halloween, and the overall
spooky game, right? Yeah, real
right.
Game
yeah. But hey, lots of costume ideas in there from everything that I've seen. There's lots of that.
Sure.
The overwhelming response that I'm seeing across critics and gamers is overall very positive. That doesn't mean it's universally positive. I know some people don't like it. Some people didn't review it at certain outlets super high. But overall, it's got in the 80s on average. That's excellent. That truly is excellent. We've had Game of the Years for our podcast that have won that were in the low 80s, and that's great. That's fine. Yeah. So Metacritic wise, that's excellent. The gamers seem to really be enjoying it for the most part. The loudest voices that hate it are usually the ones, as we talked about before, that haven't really been playing it. So I don't really care about those voices. I want to hear from you guys. You've been playing it. And by the way, for the record, to represent our buddy Jeff, who's not here, he's also playing it, even though gaming has taken a back seat to the many other things he has going on right now. He is loving it. So he absolutely is
He
digging
just
this
dove
game.
in. He's just like, you know what? I'm just gonna play
Yeah.
this. And he's
He was
not
like,
playing
"This is so
any of them.
stupid."
I
I've heard
knew
pretty
he
good
would
things.
like it because he took to Mass Effect so well. Like
Yeah.
I've never seen him like blast through a 90-hour game. Like if you
Right.
play all 3 of those games
Oh.
together, and he did
Yeah.
like in like 3 weeks. I'm like, who are you? Like what? So
Who
I
is this?
figured
I just made
he
a big
would,
mess.
and that's looking like what he's gonna have ahead of him with this game too. It's looking like people are saying it's in the upper,
Yeah, I have no clue
70
what
to
the length
100 hour
is.
range. Yeah,
I made a mess, but it's gonna be
Oh
okay.
no.
it's gonna be okay.
Uh-oh. We have to-
Dan,
It's just gonna
Dan-
smell like beer in here. That's all.
Dan, did you play?
But I
Did you
mean-
start this game? Did you start your journey?
I did, but so unfortunately, yes. Well, not unfortunately, because I mean, I streamed, and that's the thing that I choose to do.
Ooh.
So I streamed yesterday.
Unfortunately, you
so-
had to stream instead of play
unfortunately,
Dragon's
I had
Age.
to So I didn't have yesterday to play it, but I'd say total probably 4 or 5 hours. So not like a ton, but
Yeah.
I mean, within the first 4 or 5 hours, there's a couple of areas that you do explore. And actually,
Yeah.
speaking of spooky, there is that town that you take a boat to, and the vibe there is
Yeah, the
pretty
crossroads.
spooky.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. There's they really prepped me for like a hallway simulator, and I have been in many very open-ish
Sure.
areas, like big. Like a lot of the towns are like big kind of open areas that you kind of
Mhm.
revisit and stuff like that. And I say open, they are interlocking like hallways and stuff like that, but there's like variety, and there's a sense of space in some of these areas, and
Yeah.
some are just kind of openish areas with like puzzles and side quests and stuff like that. So
I did watch
guess I
something
was kinda
that
shocked
said
by that.
that said it was like narrow paths to more openish areas. So I like was at least aware of that. Because like Inquisition is kind of like that. Like but I think there is slightly more wider areas in Inquisition, and then I'm trying to remember, I think there was like a deserty sort of area that like
Yeah.
was like just a big sort of open, and you kind of just like roamed it.
Right.
But so not like too different. But to be honest, I'm not really that offended by it, because like I'm looking around the
No.
environments and I'm like, this is freaking beautiful. Like,
Well, and I think that people were also like maybe a little misinformed that like, oh, well, it's not, Inquisition was inching kind of more towards like open world, and it's like that was
Sure.
still stages. You still kind of
Yeah.
like on a map, you chose like what
Yeah.
area of the map you're going to. You
Mhm.
load in to that area, in which case you either do a mission or a series of missions, depending on what kind of area it is. And that's literally exactly how this game is too.
right.
Might be a little smaller, some of the bigger areas, but like it's still same format, for the most part. So that was interesting to me too, because like again, I was ready for it to just be like, all right, we're doing level 4 now, and like not. That's not exactly how this is. So a lot of returning to areas and re-exploring them, and new things are going to be open to you, because like Metroidvania-esque like powers that you get that allow you to like
Now you
get
can
across
access something.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a bit of that. So it's like it is not devoid of exploring, and I would even say the missions are. Mass Effect is like this too. Speaking of, we were just talking about that. You choose an area on the galaxy map to go to, and you just load in and you do that level.
Right.
So it's like this. BioWare's been kind of doing this for a while, so I don't think it's against form. I've been seeing a lot of misinformation about that. I guess that's why I'm dwelling so much about that. So.
I mean, to be honest, I'm fine with here and there. Give me the games that are just more focused, because if everything is just 100-hour massive open, I'm like checking every freaking corner. Like it's just like
these areas are so beautiful too that like I like that they're like they're just like we want you to see this. Like this is the thing we want you to see. I mean, this is what you're seeing in this level.
Your companions literally will be like, oh man, look at that view over there. Like,
the companions are so chatty too. I love pairing them up in weird pairs. And just having them like. There's a couple that like obviously just don't like each other because of like who they are. Like
Sure.
And like their banter is just hilarious to me. And so I like that a lot. And the companions are very good. Like I've gotten I'm like 25 hours into this game. I've played a lot.
Okay, so give me like
I was
a
off
feeling.
a day or two there in there somewhere from work, so like I had some me time. But
well, tell me, like as Dragon Age fans, you guys have both played pretty much all of them, right? The ones. Okay.
All 3 of them, yeah.
So does this number one, the first gut reaction, does this feel like a Dragon Age game?
Yeah.
I would say for the most part, yes.
It's weird. That's a weird question because every Dragon Age is so vastly different from the last one.
Oh, interesting.
You know, if Dragon Age Origins is like, let's just call it Baldur's Gate 3. Like it's kind of like more like that. And where we are now, it's like Final Fantasy 16, you know, with the combat and like the
action,
the level design and stuff like that. Yeah, so it's like
in
between there, we've made like a little stops along the way of different things, of being a little more actiony, a little more tactical, you know. So
okay, so it's kind of redefined itself. The IP continues to kind of redefine itself with each entry. It's fair to say.
Yeah, I would say it feels like a really honed Inquisition in terms of like its speed, because like Inquisition was still kind of like, you know, like actiony and stuff like that, but there's like this is way more actiony. I would say leaning more towards action with every entry, for sure.
Which is why like when they first showed this and they were showing the combat, and as far as gameplay goes, everyone's like, "Oh my god, what the hell is going on?" It's like, guys, like, did you not play
more tactical stuff? There's so much cool tactical stuff in this. They still keep their primer detonator mechanic, which what that means is if someone puts a primer move on like a bad guy, like let's say I'm gonna afflict Sundered on this guy with this character, another character will use a detonation move. And back in the day, these was hard to pull off. You just kind of had to know the synergies of the moves. Now the game's like, hey, these two can combo together and create a detonation, you know, and like it's way more streamlined. You get right to it, you know, and the detonation obviously detonates. It explodes with magical energy, and you do a lot of extra damage and stuff like that. And it's a really cool system. And
it's fun.
So like, but you have to activate that yourself. You have to prime. You have to shoot one of your other guys to do, you know, a detonation. They're not going to do that on their own, you know.
You're giving them commands still, like you're still doing
I got stuck on a boss today for like 3 hours. Like I was just like, I brought in the wrong team members, and like there was no way to change your team members, and it's just like, and I got to the boss with like no health, and it saved right before that, so I had like, it was rough, you know. Yikes. So it's like you really have to like kind of watch like your supplies. Always have a healer in your party. I didn't this particular time. The game is an RPG, so it's like, unlike Final Fantasy 16, which I think you could argue there wasn't a lot of RPG mechanics in that.
Right.
This feels like an RPG through and through with action mechanics, sure, but like it's all there. It's really stat heavy. You're leaning into different builds in terms of like, hey, you know, I want to make sure that I stagger more than anything, so all my gear needs to have like stagger. You know, additions for percentages and stuff like that. So it's like you're really thinking about it. And the game pushes back. If you're like just kind of like sleeping your way through this game, like you're going to find yourself in some real trouble. And if you're moving the story a little too quickly, you're going to find yourself under-leveled for stuff too. So it's like, I really appreciate that about the game.
Yeah,
is that
and the enemies are
like an RPG in that.
Like you said, the pushback, like the enemies are doing moves that either it's best to dodge or you can deflect with the shield if you're a warrior.
What class are you?
I did warrior. Yeah, I did warrior.
Okay, cool. I did rogue, so it's a lot of parrying for me, which is very fun. Yeah.
So how's that timing? How does that feel?
You can adjust it. So it's like, do you want a big window, a small window, or a balanced window?
So there's a pretty good scale if you just want to kind of have an easy fun.
Yeah,
time.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's cool.
And you don't have to touch it at all. It is pretty unnormal. You know, it's a pretty small window. You know what I mean? Okay. Like the game is, and there is a lot going on screen. So like, knowing like when your little yellow indicator comes over your head, sometimes it can get drowned out like in all the stuff going on. So it's like you kind of have to just be watching their animations and stuff like that. But yeah, it is a kind of a smaller window if you don't manipulate that bar. Yeah, so you're blocking, I'm assuming, more and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm using my shield, so I'm blocking. And actually, speaking of Captain America, because we're referring to it, you can actually throw your shield, which is pretty sick.
Cool.
You can charge up the throw, so kind of like give it a second. And it does like a level 2 sort of charge. So
really, like Captain America
does a bit more. Yeah, so just straight up cap. But yeah,
if you get some kind of ability that like ricochets your shield off of them, you need to report back. I need to know about that.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know. But yeah, so a lot of, which I kind of figured was, and it actually worked out really well, because in the beginning of the game, your companions are mostly range and like magic users, so it actually works out really well because I'm just kind of in the middle of it, just, you know, doing my thing as a warrior, meleeing the shit out of everybody, and they're just kind of off in the distance doing stuff, and then, you know, I'm issuing commands and so on and so forth. So
you got a favorite companion yet?
I mean, they all seem pretty well. So there's Harding, right, which she's been in the previous
She's a fan favorite in the series. Yeah, she's been around since like 2
in the previous one. So cool that she's here. Varric is great. You know,
Varric
I'm not going to say too much about Varric, but he's awesome. I really like his voice, the way he talks. I like the way his dialogue
he narrates this game, and like, and he has in past games too. And I'm like, you're like an ace, dude. You're Mount Rushmore narrator for video games.
Yeah, it's just awesome. So he's like one of those characters. You're like, I like listening to this guy. I just want to listen to him talk. So Varric's cool. Was it Neva? She's the one that is that her name? Neva. She's pretty cool. She's kind of like what, ice magic-y.
She's like a Sherlock Holmes wizard.
Yeah,
like that's kind of her whole
investigator.
Thing. Yeah, like cool. I'm a cool, like everybody around town knows me. I kind of like sleuth around and like break cases and stuff like that, you know. And she's a cool like ice lady. Yeah, she's kind of got an eclectic wardrobe. Yeah.
She's very eclectic. Yeah,
I gotta say, as you guys are saying these names, I keep picturing the trailer where I introduced them and that kind of like not great trailer. I think we can all
universally not great trailer.
That very first trailer,
with the reveal
music.
Yeah.
I just picture them like jumping in like freeze frame.
Well, we've come a long way from that trailer because even I was like, "Oh no!"
You're like, "What are they doing?"
Yeah. I'm sure this was just like a stylistic trailer, but oh my god!
Turns out
they put something out quick. They're like, "No, guys, this is what it looks like." But
it turns out it was just a stylistic trailer, which is great. That's good news.
Yeah, don't do that again.
Please don't ever. Please, like they don't learn. They always do those trailers. They never learn. But I've only met Harding, obviously, Varric, and Nev. It's Nev, not Neva. I was thinking Neva.
I'm pretty sure it's my daughter's name, Nev. Yeah.
And then the one. Shoot, I can't remember her name. The other woman that you meet. I'm forgetting like all of these names. I'm so bad at remembering names.
Oh, same. I'm like right there in it.
Balara.
Oh, she's fun. Yeah, the elf tinkerer. Lady,
yeah, she has like a cutesy sort of personality to her. She just seems
she's like a dork about
like a bit
elven,
of a dork,
like elven like technology and magic and stuff like that. They're all so different. Like everybody is like so like I'm hanging out with a guy named oh my gosh, like Lucian.
Is he the one with the kind of black hair?
Yeah. He's
Lucanus?
like Lucanus. Thank you. God, I'm so bad at names. I'm sorry.
I mean, these are all just fantasy nonsense
they're just
names.
Garbly-gook names. Yeah.
Garbly-gooks.
Yeah, he is like a
except for my daughter's name.
Like an Italian like fencer, you know, like bounty hunter guy or whatever. Like very cool. Also, here's the twist: has a demon inside of him, so he's possessed. Sure. And he's constantly talking to himself.
I mean, who doesn't?
But like whenever, but like sometimes like the actual demon will be like in the picture frame or in the frame with him, so you actually see who he's talking to, and like it's just funny and it's hilarious. There's a lot of really like interesting quirks like that with some of the other characters. Like there's a necromancer, you know, that you get who's like a very like proper British gentleman, you know. And those two are the ones I'm talking about that like don't really get along. Like the dead, the guy who speaks to the dead, like doesn't really, you know, is suspicious of the guy with a demon inside of him.
Sure.
You know, like,
well, he's talking to himself or talking to himself.
Yeah. So like it's cool. Like everyone's kind of got these like little quirks and stuff like that. And the other cool thing is I don't want to go too much into the spoiler details of stuff, but all your companions have like their own side story, which that's pretty normal for these games. What's cool is that they all have their own like nemesis. So it's like think of it like a serial, you know. It's just they're like, oh, you know, like Nev's is kind of like a murder mystery, and like you're trying to like, you know, figure that out, and like you're helping her like figure this case out or whatever, and like she's got like there's a nemesis there, and every single person has like this like person that's like against them to kind of complete their story and unrelinquish their baggage, you know, so they can become better people or whatever, better companions. So, and they all have that, and they all seem pretty integral to the story as well. So,
it's interesting that you actually say that, because I'm pretty sure in Octopath Traveler 2 there was something sort of similar with that, because there's the missions where you can kind of pair up the two individual characters, but they didn't quite go fully all the way, because again, the way that game is structured is not quite like this, where it is like an ensemble. But I think part 3 would actually be, you know, where they can kind of do that. But that's really cool, because it gives, I mean, it's just like a nice easy way to like add some emotional levity to like their background and knowing them more, and being as your main character, the Rook, as they call your character.
Which I thought they were calling him that because he's a rookie, but I guess it's more of a chess piece thing.
Sure. Sure.
I was like, how are you gonna call like the guy who's leading you Rook?
Rookie.
But
Like,
it's grown on me
rookie.
though. Yeah, I was like, oh, I have the wrong context. That's on me.
Yeah.
Just think chess.
Yeah,
yes.
just think chess.
Which they say right pretty much.
I bring it up immediately, and I go,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But speaking of like immediately and right in the beginning, so like that trailer that they showed, where they actually showed the game, like after the crappy trailer, like that is the opening
20
of
minutes of the game.
Yeah.
It did feel like the opening of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, by the way, the visuals reminded me of, and I mean this absolutely as a compliment. I know some people don't like this game, but that first-person Magic game from last year that didn't do super well for EA.
Forspoken? No, that's the Square Enix one.
The other one.
I know what you're talking about.
Immortal. Is it Immortal?
You see, we can't remember because nobody can remember. That's why.
Elysium's. I don't know.
Avium.
Yeah.
I want to say Avium, or is Avium a body part? I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But there's that game where you're casting the magic, and
yeah.
The opening sequence, you're in a city, and then the opening sequence that they showed in that trailer for Veilguard.
Yeah,
there was just a lot of similarities in like some of the design choices and coloring and things of that nature. But of course, the gameplay is nothing like it, and the storyline is nothing like it. It sounds like the characters are all pretty well voice acted and pretty interesting characters.
Yeah,
very well voice acted. Yeah, voice acting is fantastic.
And you got a lot of returning people because, like, you know, Varric, like we mentioned, same voice actor. There's a character. I love what I appreciate too is like, and what does make this also feel like a Dragon Age game, like you're seeing characters from before. So like Harding, for example, or Solaris, or Solus rather. And then there's another character that pops up. I'm not going to say, but someone kind of flies in and it's like, yo, what's up? And you're like, oh shit, all right. I wasn't expecting that so quick in the game. Like,
I know, that's a third act thing. Yeah,
I was like, whoa.
That particular thing usually shows up in the third act. And
so that was cool. So like, I like that, and that's what's connecting the DNA of everything.
Right off the bat, and this is in the trailers like that too. Right off the bat, like when you create your character, you're creating your Inquisitor from the last game as well. So it's like they're at some point going to show up in the game, I imagine, you know, or have some kind of part to play. Like, why would you create a whole character? And you also pick like kind of decisions that were made in the last kind of couple games as well. So you're carrying over like a soft world state, you know.
Makes sense.
Because a lot of worlds they end very differently. I'm sure Dan's Inquisition game ended much different than my game, you know. So you do get to kind of choose a couple of those things to carry over.
Does the save file carry over if it's on the same system?
No. You're picking and choosing. Yeah, they're broad choices. Yeah,
that's too bad they couldn't figure out a way to bring in some of your choices.
Yeah. In previous games, you could. Yeah, like Inquisition would recognize like, hey, there's Dragon Age 2 data here. We'll fill in the blank, or you uploaded it to like EA's website or something. There was some kind of way to do it, but I forget. But
I guess if you're gonna fill in the blanks, though, letting you make the call. Witcher 3 did something similar, where you're being interviewed by the guy.
Similar. Yeah.
And he keeps asking, like, remind me what happens here. It's almost like he's quizzing Geralt to see if he's like, I don't know. But then you the character, are making the choices that.
You're making those world choices. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I get that.
But I like the way that. So you know, again, he was in the trailer, so we are aware of Solus. I like the way that's being implemented, like kind of like what the deal is there, and kind of.
He was the most fascinating character in the.
Because there was a lot of mystery there, because you find out.
Yeah, and then like the big turn at the end, the heel turn, I guess. I mean, this game's out, so we can spoil the last game. It was blindsiding and nuts. You know, like it was a nutty. It was like what if instead of Aerith dying in Final Fantasy VII, she becomes the main bad guy at the end of Final Fantasy VII? That's kind of like you carried this person in your party the entire game, and then, you know, I'm not saying they're like mustache twirly evil, but they are like the big bad. You know, it turns out like they are like the world's big bad. Everything that's happened is because of this like person that you've had in your party. Now they're the main bad guy of this game, or, you know, don't want to spoil too much, but like, they are the perceived main bad guy of this game.
Yeah,
so.
there's things that happen with this
very
individual,
quickly. Yeah,
in the past that ties to, you know, the things that, you know, happen in those first 20-30 minutes. So you're like, oh, okay, well, it's not so cut and dry. There's definitely some layers there, or at least you know, could just be people also like trying to pull the wool over our eyes. So we'll see. But
everyone thinks that they're the hero of their own story, you know.
Sure,
so it's one of those type of things. So very fantasy. It's a lot of just fantasy jargon going on. A lot of, you know,
Tons
like
of jargon. So
just a
much
lot,
jargon.
just a lot of that, Jeff was saying that like he'd never played any of these games. He's like not lost at all. So it's like,
Yeah.
you don't need any kind of like knowledge of like this specifically fantasy jargon to kind of like pick up what's going on. They do a really good job of like making it just like this is this game and this story. If you recognize some toys we've used before and that lights up your eyes, great, that's for you. But it's not like it you don't miss anything, you know what I mean? It's no you're not missing anything other than just the aha, like, I know that if you've never played these before. So that's cool.
Certain locations being mentioned, and like we've said, characters.
Yeah, this is up north. I think Tim, you brought up like when this game was originally like came out, it's like, oh, I didn't know it was so like like this, like there's spotlights and tech, like it looks like there's tech and stuff like that. This is the north, and it's way more magic based, and magic is tech, like in this universe or whatever. So down south, where a lot of the other games took place, like there's not a lot of that type of aesthetic and stuff like that. So like everyone's getting kind of like some new visuals for this as well, just because it is an area of the map or this world that no one has been to yet.
It reminds me of like the hex tech from like the League of Legends stuff, the arcane.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah, good. That's a good parallel. Yeah, that's a good parallel.
Yeah, because the first one is like and again, this progression of this series has shown you like all these things, like kind of piece by piece. Like the first game, when you Origins, like that game is grimy.
It's like a gross, it's a gross old world fantasy game.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, basically red, brown, and gray, because it's just red from the blood and everything.
Yeah, a lot of red. Yeah, I remember your character's just being caked in blood.
Yeah, just like, covered in droplets of blood. Yeah, just stained in blood.
Which this game little of that edges is gone, I will say, with the pretty colors, but like there's still like blood splatters and like some really gnarly stuff, like people getting eaten by monsters and yada yada.
Yeah.
It's just like it's not grimy anymore. It is like it's a very pretty, like there's a lot of oohs and ahs going, a lot of purples and colors like you don't really see and used in the palette of fantasy.
Yeah.
Which is nice,
so
pretty high fantasy looking.
Staying on that though, Kyle. So I want to ask you what your feelings on like. All right, so the game has, or at least the series, for the most part, like especially characters, like the design of characters, the look of characters, for the most part, have been kind of like realistic-ish looking, right? And I feel like this one, which clearly people have like talked about and mentioned, and everybody has their opinions on, or like kind of like this is almost like if Disney or DreamWorks did like a just straight up rated mature thing.
Yeah.
Like,
right. And I will say, and I'm glad that the studio is like, we're not going to do anything like this for Mass Effect. I was immediately like, good.
Sure.
Not because I don't like this. I'm just, if you were going to try that style, it's more of a fantasy looking style than like a sci-fi looking style. I don't know if that makes sense at all, but in my head, like that's just, it's just kind of like,
it was more consistency with Mass Effect, right?
So, right. I don't want Mass Effect to look like like this. Like it looks very like there's almost like kind of like an oily like look to this game. Like it's just very vibrant and very interesting looking, but not like, I wouldn't call it cell shaded. You know what I mean? It's not not that, but there is a Disney-esque or DreamWorks-esque type of glow to it.
Yeah.
Which I like. Again, I think it fits well with this particular aesthetic.
But this series has definitely gone through those changes with each one, like because like the first one was like super grimy. Is also an older, it was a PS3
and 2 I would say it was too, like hot, it was a dark, kind of a dark kind of brown game, brown and gray.
And then Inquisition still kind of in that respect, but like the character's not looking quite like this.
Still foot in the door of realism. Whereas this is like totally stylized. Absolutely. It works well. Again, I think it works well. Like I do stop a lot and just go, holy crap. Like I just had a whole like 3-hour long story sequence that was like this giant, I'll just say siege just for the sake of being vague or whatever. And like it was just spectacle for like 3 hours, to the point where like I don't even know if my brain could appreciate it anymore. Like it was just like
it was just too much.
We are tapped out on like wows. Like we're tapped out, like
it was too much, but like in a good way.
It's too much, but in a good way. I was overfed, and it was cool, man. Like it was very, very, very cool. Like they just spent a lot of time into like making everything like look cool. And the game looks very cool. Like there's a lot of like cool vistas that you're in. And I love all the towns that you go to. They all look so different. They all have their different vibe and different kind of culture going on there. So it's cool, man. I think the game is very, very, very fun. And this is the most hours I put in a game in this short of time, maybe ever, if not a very long time. Like it's just like the game's been out like 24 hours, and I put like 24 hours into the game. So like,
you're like, I put in 28 hours.
That's kind of where we're at right now with that. So
yeah, but I do like the tone, because there was a little bit of that cautiously optimistic sort of thing going on with this game, because of just like, I mean, this game took what, 7-8 years to come out.
10 years, I think. It was at least 10 years since the last game came out, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Crazy.
But I mean, like, since they announced it, and the wave, the waves of information over the years.
Remember it was supposed to be a live service game at some point?
Live service, free to play. Like, so we've gone through the
and
whole, like,
dude, if they used any of that, and like, you can't tell, like, that's another thing, is that like I'm sure this is gonna feel like a live service game with like just a little more like it just doesn't, like, they must have scrapped all that stuff, or it's really buried. I don't know. But I mean, it feels like it feels like a purposeful, like, single player, gigantic RPG, and
there's no DLC coming. Everything seems to just be in there. So
they released it feature complete with an ending, multiple endings, and everything like that. So, that's, I mean, that's great. No one has to spend any more money in 6 months.
You don't have to give EA more money. That's true.
Yeah,
and you don't have to get back in and relearn,
which they're great.
You have to go in and relearn a ton of systems and all that too, which is
I know, nice. That's the worst, yeah.
Because the guys, 2025 is going to be crazy. Who's going to want to pause and dive back into a huge game to relearn it? Because 2025 is going to have so many games in the first half of the year. Especially.
It's kind of crazy, yeah. it's. God, I'm gonna have to take out a loan. I don't know what's going on.
Too much.
Take out a loan.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Kyle, I'm just gonna get this out of the way. Have you witnessed any of the controversial moments yet?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. What's one person's controversy is another person's whatever.
That's
like,
true.
I don't know what that means.
He saw the blood splatter, so we're good.
I will say, you'd have to really be hunting. I'm 24 hours in, and you have to really be hunting for it to get mad at something in this game.
Yeah.
I would
say. So what you're saying is it's crazy to be mad about a 2-minute segment in a 24-hour segment.
Yeah, maybe. I
slice
didn't
of game.
The video you're talking about, so I have no reference to that. But,
okay.
But
I would say the only reason to get mad is if you are playing it and a moment in the story or with the character feels so outside of what should be happening. I think you have a legitimate complaint to be like, you kind of ruined my escape into that world.
There was a build-up of this story moment
I
that was supposed to happen.
I don't care like what the issue is, what you think should have. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. I think that's annoying. If you're just mad because of news about it, someone else posted about it, then yeah, I think you need to get a life and find a new thing to do.
Well, it's more about. I'm fine with like being like trying to have some constructive criticism of how the scene happens, right? If like you just said, if it's just out of nowhere, like you were sitting here talking about Solus doing blah blah blah, and then like they them, like just out of nowhere, then it's
that feels like a modern day thing. Shoehorned
the flow
in.
of it is weird. Right?
No, like I have not run across anything like that.
Okay. So you're like you said, like 20 something hours.
I know there's a whole character who's like considers themselves non-binary or anything like that, and I've met them, and at no point have I. It just doesn't feel like anything's like being like, here's this, So I don't know, and I'm maybe the wrong person to ask about this type of stuff. I'm not 100% sure, but like.
Care more, get mad more.
I can't. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to ask you because you're actually like a normal, decent human being, Kyle, and you've played 20 something hours of this. So I was wondering if 5 hours of this game has been that, or if it's like literally a minute and 59-second clip that people are,
I don't know. It doesn't clock for me as weird for like to get a little specific, a like big burly, tanky female warrior who doesn't really identify themselves as like feminine. Because like, look at how I just described the character. You know what I mean? Like a big, giant, tanky like warrior. You know what I mean? So it's like
all I heard was hate speech, but you keep
no, yeah, sorry, I know, yeah, I really picked the right words. So it's like it just doesn't clock for me as like this is weird and woke or whatever. Like it's just like I've met Brienne of Tarth from Game of Thrones before.
Yeah.
You know, like I've met that character. You know, like this. So it's like
one of the best characters
I don't know.
on
It
that
just
show, by the way.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, and yeah, absolutely. And she a lot of parallels like to that character, I would say. But like. So I don't know, like cool. People are gonna get offended about whatever.
I was just wondering because, like, like again, like Tim said, totally, like that makes sense. Like, let's have a nuanced conversation about like maybe these things could be like, you know, if you're gonna put that in a game, in my opinion, that is 100% fine. Just have it be a bit more nuanced and like written smarter and better, you know.
Well, and like Dragon Age has always had like a lot
BioWare,
of gay and LGBT, you know, like BioWare in general is like the king of like bang your bros, bang your hoes, you know, like that is like the whole point of these games. They're very, very, very like pro sexuality and yada yada. So it's just like this is the wrong game to be bringing up like these, you know, types of things. Like wrong developer, I would say, to be bringing up these like type of things with, you know, because it's always kind of been baked.
It's in their wheelhouse, so
yeah. So I'm just not clocking that stuff. Maybe someone else who's a little more tuned in, a little more woke, might be able to clock that stuff.
Wake up,
more.
Kyle.
I'm asleep, dude. Yeah, sorry. I took the blue pill.
At last.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, anytime any game that is not set in the modern day hits me with something modern day, it could be a phrase or a word, I might be okay with it, like whatever. But like, I don't know, man. And it could be a cultural issue too. It could be there's a variety of things that have made me pause and just roll my eyes. Like, I just kind of remember that I'm playing a video game, sitting here in my house, and now you made me like. I don't know, you pulled me out of it a little bit because you are injecting real life messaging and wording and phrasing. That does bug me when I'm experiencing it for myself, and it takes me out of it. I don't know if I don't get mad about it though if someone else is doing it and they just tell me like, hey, like I'll probably not play the Veilguard if I'm being honest with you. I probably won't play it. So I can't get mad at it or defend it. I'm just not. That's not a conversation but people are doing that. So to Dan's point, people are jumping in and having huge debates around it. And it's clear they're not even playing it, so it's like, what are you doing? Like this?
Yeah, I don't know. I think the game people like to play now is complain. I think that's that is the game.
I mean, by the way, if this bothers you, but you loved Baldur's Gate 3, maybe rethink a few things because like that game had a bear that was doing something. You know what I mean? Like
everybody was super gay in that game, so it's like it was. You know, and like you could make your character whatever you wanted to.
Baldur's Gate 3.
While you're at it, get mad at Cyberpunk. You know what I mean? Get mad at all these games like with this type of, you know, like.
But know what you're getting into, and if you want to get super mad about it, that's fine. Like I suggest find a new hobby. It's gonna be better for your heart to find something different.
Hey, but if you're getting joy out of that too, knock yourself out. You know, I just
imagine,
really don't give a shit.
The opposite of that, Tim, where like, you know, people are just jumping in and having those conversations. There are people that have been like, man, I got like 10, 12 hours into this and I'm having fun, but then I saw this thing and now I'm getting my refund. It's like, all right.
Yeah,
like, you're enjoying this though right now, right? Like you just said you're enjoying it. So,
there's over, you know, people like to,
but
this peacock online.
The only thing I ever try to do is I try to play that devil's advocate, even to myself, and I'll flip it around like, all right, what if it were an issue that I actually don't agree with being shoved down my throat in a game? If it's something you agree with, you're probably going to be cool with. But if it's a cultural issue that you don't like as much, I can see getting annoyed by it. So just kind of try to flip it. Like if it were something, I don't know, something on the other side of the way you view the world, you might be a little more annoyed by it being jackhammered into a game you're playing. Potentially. Maybe not. Maybe you'd be fine with it. But I think most of us would be annoyed if a real life thing that we don't align with is now being shoved into our games regularly. So I do try to empathize. I'm only saying because I'm trying to empathize a little bit with people who don't love it. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to play it. So I'm only talking to you guys about it. I haven't joined the conversation elsewhere.
So are you just not going to play it out of spite because of all the Dragon Age, propaganda we've thrown your way, Tim? Is that what this is?
Yeah, it's actually kind of a really funny running joke now that I just refuse to play an IP that everyone who knows me,
platform.
Everyone who knows me has said you're gonna like this. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not gonna play it.
Take that.
Yeah. No, it's
you literally own it on everything. right?
I do
Don't you
own
literally?
Inquisition on most things.
Yeah. Just don't do it.
Yeah. I've never purchased it, to be really clear. I've never
Sure.
purchased it.
Sure.
It's been purchased for me.
Yes.
Mostly by Derek, but yeah. Anyway, he was hoping that would get me to play it. If he had it pop up on all of my libraries, maybe at some
Right.
point I'd click play. I've installed it, but I've never played it.
You're almost there. You're almost
No,
there.
I shouldn't say I've never played it. I played it a little bit on the Xbox Series X, I think. No, Xbox One X. I played a
Okay.
little bit of it for a few hours a while ago.
So in like 20 years, we'll maybe get to Veilguard. Oh, sorry,
Maybe.
the Veilguard.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. We'll see if I'm up for guarding the veil at that point.
Yes.
Guys, I don't know if you knew this, but this game is super successful. It debuted at the top of Steam's top seller charts. It immediately dethroned Call of Duty Black Ops 6 as the #1 seller. And that, I don't know how these charts do it. Is it like a 2-hour period, a 24-hour period? I'm not sure how they do it, but
Yeah.
the Steam database charts, they update really regularly. So whatever. It debuted really high, which is awesome. And then its concurrent gamers, I think the peak is at 80 something, like 84,000 or something like that, which is, I think that's the best
Cool.
EA game. Better than, let's see, maybe it's not the best. Let me see.
Oh, just period for EA?
Oh,
Wow,
it's the
okay.
third best. So Need for Speed
Oh.
Heat peaked just above it. And then the Sims 4.
Really?
Sims 4
Need
peaked
for
like
Speed
a
Heat, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is
Well,
a
then
good
I guess
one.
this is
It's
actually a
just weird,
failure.
yeah.
It's actually a failure.
Yeah, it's a failure. No, but they're saying it's really, as far as they're concerned, they're very excited about it. It beat out both of the Star Wars Jedi games in terms of Steam concurrent players at their 24-hour peaks.
Wow.
So its
People
launch
like
numbers
gay
are very good.
dragons more than they like Jedi. Like that's you heard it here, folks. Like that's
It's, you know what? It's because he has red hair, and the hate for gingers is just too strong.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
It's just too strong.
Fantasy better than sci-fi confirmed.
That's what it means. See, we can draw all
Wait,
kinds of
no,
conclusions.
I'm not. We're not ending on that note. Absolutely.
No,
not.
we
All
are
right, thanks for
absolutely.
listening.
And
We're wrapping up.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings is better than Star Wars.
I am gonna lose it.
Yeah, so guys, Dragon Age: The Veilguard is doing quite well, not just review-wise and gamers who are playing it, liking it, but the numbers are speaking for themselves. People are purchasing it.
Cool.
It's awesome. So
Yeah.
And I haven't heard much on the front of like, hey, the PC version is broken. Wait for 5 months to try it.
Dude,
Like,
I'm
I haven't
24 hours in, not one crash, not
on
one
PS5 for you.
Nothing, dude. I've never
nothing.
like this is like the most stable game I've played in years.
On PlayStation 5 for
this-
both of you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, this game is smooth. Like,
It's-
I didn't even mention the animations. Like, I love the way that like the Rook runs. Like, there's something really like nice and fluid and realistic
I'm on
about the way.
fidelity mode, which I usually switch over to.
yeah.
I usually switch over to performance, and I'm like, dude, I can't even imagine how clear it is on there. But even on fidelity mode,
It's
it
so
is
smooth,
very,
you literally melt. Like you literally just start
True.
to
absolutely
melt where you're sitting.
Yeah.
And that's why the characters look all Pixar-y and
Yeah.
waxy, right? They're all
They're melty.
Yeah, so guys, apparently this game is really good.
Yeah, it's fine.
Which is great. Another game that's out that doesn't have quite the same level of critical acclaim, but it doesn't lower my interest in it, to be honest with you, and that is Life is Strange Double Exposure. It's a revisit back to our old buddy Max, the original Life is Strange protagonist, and back to the same town, a lot of the same characters. I know Jeff is playing this one a little bit and says he's enjoying it. I just know that the general response to this one is more mixed, whereas the 2015 Life is Strange game was certainly close to universally praised.
They're like the mixed is weird though, because it's not on the inside end. It's like 9s and 4s. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like
it's weird.
It's very weird. The people who like it really like it, and the people who don't like it really don't like it. Yeah, not a lot of like 7s, 6s, yeah.
It's funny, I pulled up the Open Critic just as an example of what you're saying, and you're totally right. Places like IGN gave it a 9, Game Rant gave it a 5. So like it's all over the place.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, like no one can agree on this one. Yeah. Who knew that something starring girls in indie rock could be so controversial?
Hey, they're exploring the scale though, at least, right? They're exploring that scale.
That's right. That's right. So anyway, this is out. Sadly, we don't have much to say about it because none of us are playing it.
I'm like a super fan of Life is Strange, though. I'm in the middle of two gigantic RPGs
I played the
right
first
now.
one. and I loved it. Derek and I did a spoiler cast on that years ago. Like, I loved that game.
It's so good.
I only played the first episode of Life is Strange 2, and I never went back to it. And
That's
it wasn't
exactly
anything, nothing specific made me not interested.
I did not click with it at all. Whereas like I clicked with the first one immediately. Like there was an immediate like thing to it.
Yeah. So, and then of course, True Colors I thought was excellent. I thought that was a really phenomenal game, really fun. Loved the setting, that Colorado town, and
the town was the thing that hooked me like right away.
The town was great. The characters were, I mean, I just loved it. So I am looking forward to diving back in. I like the character of Max and all the other characters.
I think all of us plan to play this game. It is. It does sound cool, and like the reviews I read that were good, like the things that they were praising, I was like, well, great, okay, I'm interested in that.
This is what I want.
I don't think you can recapture that. That first game is so special. Like it's so. If you've never played that game, it is so good. Like I know it's like so hard for a bunch of adult dudes to like pitch like teeny bopper, like setting like video games like that, but like it is real. Like the story in that game.
Greetings, fellow kids.
Multiple times in that game, my jaw hit the floor. It's just like this. It's an amazing video game, and maybe you can't recapture that in the second one. Maybe you can't. I don't know, but like
you gotta have some kind of twist, because or something. Like I don't know, and maybe towards the end, like because similar with or at least with the first one, like I still think about the ending of that first one. Like it still enters my brain. I still
think about the ending of like the third episode of that that season.
Third episode,
the wheelchair scene. If you know, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
Holy crap! Yeah.
Holy crap!
That game was good at ending, the chapters in a way.
It was like, what if the movie Butterfly Effect with Ashton Kutcher was good?
What if anything with Ashton Kutcher was good, you guys?
Hey, listen, Dude, Where's My Car is like a masterpiece. Okay.
Well, I like that movie. Let's hold up a little bit.
I think we're playing it a little fast and loose with our terminology. But that's okay. That's okay.
Masterpiece is a word.
The only kind of like choose your own adventure style games that have stuck with me to the point that I remember specific dialogue from multiple scenes in those games. It's Life is Strange and it's the first Walking Dead Telltale game. There's many of the other ones that I really liked. Like I loved the Borderlands Telltale one, and the Wolf Among Us was so good. But like the first season of Walking Dead was something I had never experienced really.
It kicked this whole thing off.
It was unbelievable. And then Life is Strange was just like, what is this? And why do I care about these characters who I can't relate to at all? Nothing about them is like me even a little bit. Yeah. And I adored that game. And there's been lots of games that have come close. True Colors was good. Wolf Among Us, there's a bunch. But like those are the two like seasons of any kind of game / TV series is what they felt like. It felt like I was watching a season of a TV show. So good, man. So good. That Walking Dead game was far and away better than the Walking Dead show. Like that first season.
We're so much better. Yeah. I mean, the whole series you could compare. Like, there's dips, there's ups and downs in that series, but like it's all bad.
I've heard that the game it ramps back. I don't know if this is true, but if the final entry of the Telltale Walking Dead games are good again. But I don't know if that's true.
Whatever.
I'm not sure.
I actually never played the
I own it. It's sitting there on my Steam library because I bought like the whole collection. I need to play
and I was so attached to that story. By the time like Telltale closed down, I was like, I don't care.
Yeah. But it's hard for me. I mean, for me, it's hard to beat Lee being like Clementine. I don't know. I just love it, man.
Damn.
I love it. Okay. So Life is Strange Double Exposure. There's our impressions on that.
There you go.
There you go.
It's been exposed.
There you go. Hey, there's a remastered version of Horizon Zero Dawn is out on PS5 and PC. Sure. Getting overall, I think, pretty good reactions from folks. I have replayed this game multiple times and done the DLC. I've only finished the game one time and finished the DLC one time, but I have started a new save and played a chunk of the way through it on more than one occasion, and I love it. I got it again on PC and did the same thing. I think it's great. My daughter started a new game on it a couple weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
And she really thought it's her first time playing a little bit more of a serious single player game. So she was like, this is really intense,
What a cool one to what a cool one to dive into.
Yeah. Also, it's it's an absolutely badass girl character. So I was like, you should play this game. You're going to like this. And she absolutely does. She's like, her hair's so cool. I was like, right?
It's so flowy.
Sure, it won't stop moving, but it is cool.
It's really windy, Tim, all right?
It's very windy all the time.
The physics on that real hair,
So that is out. Also, there's this game I wanted to highlight called Redacted, which looks super cool. I'm
I was
probably
wondering
gonna
what that
grab
was
this.
there. I was like, why is Tim redacting
I didn't
something?
Yeah, I
redact
thought you just
something.
redacted something.
I didn't
yeah.
redact something from the notes. It does look like that. There's a game called Redacted in brackets. The art
Sure.
style, it's like kind of a Hades style game, but with shooting and stuff like that.
Okay.
And it has such a cool look. Like I recommend just going to take a look.
I'll look it up.
If I have time, maybe I'll throw some B-roll on here while I'm talking about it. But I'm absolutely planning on grabbing this one. I just needed to be realistic with what will I have time to play. And this is a prime candidate for a great holiday Steam sale. It's probably going to get some sort of decrease. And
Yeah,
so I
this
think
is like
it's like 25
Borderlands, like Borderlands vibes aesthetically, like
with like an isometric view
yeah,
on
yeah.
super fast paced roguelike kind of Hades style. So Redacted looks really cool. And last but not least, I purchased, downloaded, and played for a little while last night Red Dead Redemption on PC. They're not even officially calling it remastered, but and I know they've done some versions for modern consoles. Was it just PS5 or was it for three for the?
I think it was even just PS4 and Xbox 360. I think.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong.
Did they do it for PS5 and Series?
I don't remember, but they are 4K. They're
Okay.
4K compatible.
So they've improved it before. So this seems like it does a lot of that, but it also allows for a lot of the PC bells and whistles where you can really fine tune the settings. Rockstar has gotten pretty good at this with GTA and Red Dead Redemption 2. So this is a very high quality port of this game. I maxed out all the settings and my monitor is set right now at 100 refresh rate. I think I need to get a new monitor. There's something wrong with it when I go above 100 refresh rate. That's okay. So I've got it at it's locked in at 100 frames per second, and it's on all ultra settings, and it is running silky smooth. It looks so nice, and there are certain elements that I'm like, the game is
old, man.
What was it, 2012?
Yeah.
Is that I think that's when that game came out.
First Red Dead?
It's like 2 generations ago.
Oh, not the first.
2011?
generations ago. That's a PS3 game. It's
2011.
2010.
2010.
2010.
All right, so this game is older than most of my kids. You know what I mean? Like this game is This game is not young, but so certain textures and certain movements, you're like, yeah, that's a game from a gen or two ago.
Yeah.
But overall, like even the faces as they're talking, that opening scene when they're riding the train and the two old ladies are jibber jabbering and the priest is like mansplaining to the girl about what I'm talking about, that whole opening scene.
Oh man, I've played that opening so many times. Yeah.
Same. And Marston's just soaking it all in, and then of course a couple angles you see Bonnie, who becomes one of your main like quest givers and friends in the game. She's kind of sitting a few rows in front of you. But anyway, the textures even on the faces and as the mouths are moving, all of it, I'm like, this looks good. Like they really did improve it. And so I've already taken a ton of screenshots as I'm riding my horse around and panning around the scenery. It's not Red Dead Redemption 2 in terms of visuals. That's like the best looking Western game ever made.
It's still one of the best looking games ever made.
Best looking game,
I'd say,
flat out. You're right. But guys, this one is so cool. So I'm planning on doing a run through of the whole story. It's been years since I've replayed.
It's not that. I think it's like 24, 28 hours, something like that. So it's
and
not
that's
like
if you don't do. I mean, I'm gonna probably get lost doing a lot of the side stuff because I love the hunting and all that stuff in this. But so I'll do that. But I really want to do the Undead Nightmare. That's the DLC that I love. It's one of my favorites ever. And weirdly, I never finished. I never saw it all the way through. Either. But I played it a lot. I remember just exploring and seeing.
I would just load in and go to a place I knew there'd be a lot of zombies. Just be like, all right, survive.
But I never did the. I think I did maybe, I don't know, a handful of the main quests. But otherwise, I just spent a ton of time just going.
I need to double back because I did beat this game earlier this year. I need to double back and just play that DLC just because. It's so good. So. Yeah, I highly recommend. It is $50, so it's one of those things where it's like if you already have it on console and they've already bumped it up for you on whatever console you play on, great, just play that. But if you're like me, and the only I actually have the case for it on the floor over here with my other 360 cases. If the only copy of it is an Xbox 360 version or a PS3 version, that's what I have. I have the physical disc copy of that. Then yeah, maybe it's time to drop a little more cash and revisit. And I do think $50 is a worthwhile price to revisit it if you don't have it already. Well, it's first time being on PC too, so it's going to be a lot of. It's a lot of people's for anti-console players. You are in for a treat. You finally got it, guys. 14 years later.
I was going to say it only took 14 years.
I'll tell you, it is cool though. Now knowing so much more about the Dutch Vanderland gang and the characters,
Yeah.
it does add this extra layer of like, oh yeah, I know these names now. Like
Yeah.
most of the people they're talking about, I know these names. This is so cool. I love it.
There was a couple times where it's like, we're going after this guy now. I'm like, I like that guy.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I talked to him in my camp like a lot in the last game.
He was nice to Arthur. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, so I love it, man. I'm looking forward to playing this one some more. So there you go. Red Dead Redemption on PC. There's probably others this week, but the main one, of course, Dragon Age, the Veilguard, and then we've got Life is Strange. Is there anything else that you guys know of from this week?
There is. I have absolutely no idea.
I mean, who's paying attention anymore?
Don't tell
Kyle,
me if there is.
Kyle, don't listen. But I continue to hear great things about the game that came out last week that Dan and I just barely mentioned briefly in our last episode. It's that East game, the Nordics one, East X. East.
I know, dude. I almost bought it like multiple times.
I
last
keep
week, and
hearing
I'm like,
that it's such a blast. I keep hearing it's just like it's like one of those. It's like the glory days of PS2. How do you remember the PS2 action RPGs being? But it's like a modern version of that. So I'm sure it's not like the best looking game ever, but man, I keep hearing great things about it.
I mean, East 8 is like a fantastic RPG as well. So it's like if this series has been like doing things well for a long. I mean, this series has been around since like 1991 or something like that. So
yeah, it's
it's a long running series. It is East 10. And there were spinoffs and stuff too. So it is cool to see that game doing so well because there's a lot of really good buzz about it and the reviews are pretty good and it's pirate and Viking themed. That's
so
fun.
Cool.
So
yeah, I'm on board with that.
And it's real time. So it's like
it's
Kingdom
action.
Hearts or whatever. It's more like that than actual turn based or anything like that.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, so that's one that I keep hearing about across other podcasts and just people talk. It's kind of
please go on sale.
Yeah, go on sale. Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be excellent. All right. Well, speaking of RPGs, Nintendo has announced that Xenoblade Chronicles X Remaster is coming to Switch.
Yes, dude.
If you weren't aware, this was
off the tomb of the Wii U.
This was stuck on the Wii U, released in 2015. Just 2 short years before the Switch released, when everyone forgot about anything that was on the Wii U, unless they ported it over, because they ported most of the significant stuff over to the Switch as quick as they could. But this is one of those ones that just kind of kept being shelved in terms of when is it going to get a port? When's it going to get a port? So it's finally happening, and it's the second game in the series for those who aren't familiar with it. So even before Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which was a Switch exclusive,
right? And this is like a sci-fi game. Like it's not fantasy, so it's kind of like, I don't know, like a sidequel.
It's more mech stuff going on too.
It's mechs. Yeah, you're driving giant mechs and stuff like that. So it's cool, man. It's super cool if you're looking for like a it's trading in the fantasy aspects of Xenoblade and for like kind of sci-fi stuff. So
all available now on the Switch, all of them, the whole.
And I'm sure just
series.
like the definitive edition of Xenoblade Chronicles, like they added like some quality of life stuff. I'm sure they'll add a lot of that stuff as well. So it's like, I am 1,000%. I never got to beat this game. I got like 20 hours into it, and I was like,
add it to
the
loan, Kyle, because it's coming out March 20th of 2025. So
there's nothing coming out next year,
no,
so
you're gonna be good.
Yeah,
I'll be all right.
You're gonna be good. This is one that I never played, of course, because the Wii U, like the PS3, is just something that I didn't play most of those games unless they reported to PS4 or the Switch.
There's not many left, guy. Like they've gotten almost every game off of that console, which is good because there were some good games on that, but like not worth buying a console for.
What's weird ones though that I don't understand why, and it's literally first party Nintendo. It's Wind Waker
Zelda,
and Twilight Princess.
Right.
Why aren't those on
there
the
were
Switch?
There were some rumors about the Switch 2 launching with the Wind Waker remake.
Sure.
I don't know if that's true or if there's any validity to it, but I've
I'll
seen some rumors about that.
Yeah, that's fine.
I was looking at the release dates, and actually, March isn't that jam packed yet, but I know it will be. It does.
Yeah, but February is though, isn't it?
February is really full. Yeah. But like March has 2 Point Museum, which I'm interested to see that. I like those 2 Point games. The Suikoden 1 and 2 remasters are in March. You've got now Xenoblade Chronicles X. And you've got this Lord of the Rings farming game, the Tales of the Shire, that little life sim game that they're doing,
cute.
the Lord of the Rings one.
Yeah, I'm interested
in
that one.
There's not a ton of other major, but February is stupid. I know we're not doing this right now, but let's just look at February.
Go ahead, we're already here.
It's like,
we've got Civilization 7 Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. We've got Assassin's Creed Shadows, The Legend of Heroes Trails Through Daybreak 2.
I have to beat that first game. Oh my god.
We've got Tomb Raider 4 through 6 remastered. We've got Avowed. Don't forget about Avowed. That's still happening. We have Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. We've got the Like a Dragon.
Those games are coming out in the same month?
And we have Monster Hunter Wilds.
How close are
Monster Hunter Wilds
together?
Closes out the month.
How close are all three of those last games? Yakuza, Monster Hunter Wilds, and whatever the third one was.
Avowed.
Avowed, yeah.
Okay, so you will have 3 days to finish Avowed before Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza comes out.
Easy. Yeah, I got it.
And then you'll have 7 days to finish Yakuza before Monster Hunter Wilds comes out.
Piece of cake. I got it.
Yeah, you got it. You got this.
It's October all over again, man.
Yeah, so that one is February is crazy.
Jesus.
Either way, they're saying Monster Hunter Wilds not running too great on regular PS5, so
oh really?
Might be a PS5 Pro only type of game. So
hey, speaking of PS5,
it's not running too well this game. So
speaking of
it's
PS5
not really bad,
Pro,
it's kind of choppy.
I saw that the PlayStation CEO said that the plan for the Pro was put in place even before the original PS5 launched. Like they were already working on this update. It was a 5-year project to get the Pro off the ground. Okay. Which is on the one hand, that's fine. Seems like they've got it right, and people who are excited about it, that's great. We've already talked about this. We'll have to revisit. But I don't know. It seems a little odd to already plan the 0.5 version of your thing.
It did, yeah. I think that they were like, the Pro worked, so we're just gonna immediately start R&Ding, that version of the PS5.
Yeah, that is what they do with consoles.
I also read that someone, excuse me, I don't know who it was, said that the PS5 is a 10-year plan. So. I don't know how true that is, but like the PS5 Pro is going to take the rest of the generation through that 10 years, wherever we are. What are we, 5 years in, 4 years in?
So they launched in 2020, didn't they?
Yeah. Okay. So we're 4 years in, so, there's 6 years of PlayStation 5 Pro. So like, I don't know, maybe in a couple years, like the games will be so, we'll need a Pro. I don't know. I hope that's not the case, but maybe that's kind of where we'll start going to. So,
okay. Yeah, and I think that makes sense on the one hand, where it's like to develop the Pro version of this thing, there's no way they could have made it cost effective to launch the mainline one. I do understand that.
Yeah, they're like launching this, it would have been like $1,200.
Exactly, and impossible to hit that date probably too, because like this was a 5-year project.
They couldn't even keep this version of it in stock, for 2 years. So
exactly, So I totally get it. And by the way, I do love my PS5. I do think it's probably one of the ugliest mainline consoles I've had, but I do love it as I
hit it behind my TV. I don't look at it. So
you guys are just, I'm over there looking at it, just winking at it. You guys are just really
but
shallow.
you're looking, the inside. You're not looking at the outside. I'm looking at it's the inside that
you
counts,
just keep whispering teraflops to it. You weird.
My Kaiba from Yu-Gi-Oh looking motherfucker over there. It's looking real snazzy. Okay, does anybody know Kaiba? Am I the only one that gets that reference?
I don't know.
I recognize the name, but I don't know much about Yu-Gi-Oh.
Okay, never mind.
I know blue-eye dragon, blue-eye pale,
blue eyes, white dragon. Yes,
all right, let's move on.
You nailed it.
All right, so that just went over. Okay, never mind. Never mind.
People got that, just not us.
Well, guys, PlayStation has been super active in that they did finally close officially Concord developer Firewalk.
Sure, that happened.
Remember when 2 weeks ago there were rumors that they were going to launch this game free to play? They're like, that studio's been hard at work.
Well, that was
they've
probably
been cleaning up their desks is what they've been working on.
The head of that studio was like, hey, listen, we got a plan in play. We're gonna maybe.
I didn't realize there was some promises being.
Well, because I watched the Kyle Bossman thing. I actually didn't finish that. I need to watch his newest video. But he read there was like an article where the head of that studio was like, yeah, we got some stuff and like we're thinking about some stuff, and apparently, no.
Right. Thinking about brushing up that resume is what you're thinking about.
What do you guys think about this statement? So here's the exact statement that came out. Let's see who put this out. This was, hang on. PlayStation co-CEO Herman Hulst confirmed it with this quote. Here we go. After much thought, we have determined the best path forward is to permanently sunset the game and close Firewalk Studios. I want to thank all of Firewalk for their craftsmanship, creative spirit, and dedication.
Nah, that's so corpo, dude. It's so corpo. I don't like any of that.
the best path forward after we forced them to create this game and have the things in it that it ended up having, especially in terms of like being a not free to play shooter that's built like a free to play shooter, was probably the biggest thing going against it, charging $40 for what should have been a free to play game. Everything about it, the multiplayer only, the hero shooter approach, all that,
the
all those
budget,
pieces.
the overspending on the budget, which I'll never understand. I'll never understand that money figure at all.
Me neither.
I'm like, I'm looking at the game right now. That's not a whatever that budget was video game.
400 million. 400
no,
million?
Yeah, are you crazy? Like,
so Sony owned it. I think Sony ended up putting in 200 million total. After they acquired it, right? Because 200 had already apparently.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because it was already in development.
Yeah. So they acquired the. Oh god.
But 200 million? That's a massive game. Yeah. A $200 million game? That's insane.
Dude, I always go back to was it Insomniac, right? How much did they spend on Insomniac? It was like 285 million or something to buy them.
Yeah.
And look at everything we've gotten from Insomniac since, like
crazy.
Yeah, right.
Spider-Man game, like
crazy.
I like that they saw them go over and make what is that game called on Xbox? The really cool
Jet Set.
Basically.
Basically Jet Set. But...
whatever that game was, and Sony's like, we got
Sunset Overdrive.
Sunset Overdrive. They're like, we got to buy these guys. We can't have them making games like that elsewhere.
Yeah, basically. Man, what a steal that was. And then you look at this game and
such
it's
a steal.
Oh, what happened?
I don't know, Dan. Spider-Man 2 didn't meet sales expectations.
So no DLC.
Maybe it was a bad investment. So
maybe people have too much webbing in their eyes, or
you know what? Maybe on revisiting it, I hated it. Now that I think
it's so, dude. I'm telling you, the shoe dropping on this game a year later is crazy to me.
You know what's gonna happen? This game's gonna come out on PC in January. I think is the scheduled release date for Spider-Man 2. I'm going to buy it again, and just like I did with the first one, I will now 100% it because I freaking love these games. Because I didn't 100% the first or second one on my PlayStation playthroughs, but I did complete the main stories. I did a lot of the side stuff. But I'm going to dive in again, man. These games are amazing. They are so good.
So good. Yeah.
So whatever. Both of them, by the way, everybody. Not just the first one. The second one also.
Even Miles Morales. All of them. All of it's good.
Miles Morales is such a good game.
All three.
Yeah, such a good game. It does count. You're right. That one
counts. Yeah.
It absolutely counts. Miles matters. Okay.
Miles matters.
Couple of smaller things, and then we'll talk about some other news. So one of them is that Path of Exile 2 is still on track for this year, but they pushed it back a few weeks.
Okay.
Just for some additional polish and getting it ready. Remember, it's going to be in early access, but as far as I can tell, it's going to be early access still on consoles and PC. I know Xbox has their preview program. I guess I haven't really seen it a lot on PlayStation, but I guess it can, something can launch in early access there. So anyway, it's now going to hit December 6th. And Path of Exile 2, if you're not familiar, go check out some of the gameplay trailers from this. This game
hardcore Diablo.
It looks so awesome.
Yeah.
It looks
free to play.
Really cool.
Yeah, it's free to play too. And the first game is like beloved. It's beloved, and most people would argue that it's better than what Diablo's doing. So
right, which is crazy because again, free to play, and that the fact that they can achieve that and get that kind of love for it is pretty great. So
yeah,
good for
all right, guys. Give me a thumbs up or thumbs down if you believe this or not. Bungie claims that Marathon is on track. Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Boy, it would take a.
It's still real.
I'm running a marathon in my head trying to believe that. I'll tell you that.
But they just said they're not yet ready to show gameplay. The game director, Joe Ziegler, said in a recent update that Bungie isn't ready to reveal the gameplay yet. However, the development is on track, and they shared some new concept art. Why? Okay. And then they teased plans to expand playtesting in 2025.
I just want to remind everybody that is a live service game, I'm pretty sure. So
it is.
Is it?
It was revealed. Wasn't it revealed 2 years ago? Or at least 1 year ago.
At least a year ago. It
might have been two. So it was a real long time ago. And then now you're still not ready to show any gameplay, and you're just going to put out more concept art. Like, dude, this is the best time to just be quiet. Don't even talk. Like, if you need to give an update, like, we're still working on it, it's on the way, totally fair. But don't release concept art. Like, this is, I don't know. I feel like it's a little crazy to have they did the reveal trailer. You guys remember the trailer for it with like the white mannequin looking things?
No,
okay.
Immediately cut it out of my head. The second I heard it was live action or live service, I was like, I don't care.
Space on
I will not care about this. Sorry.
I totally get it.
Yeah.
Well, tell me what you think about this. The Wolverine director has now moved over to take over Xbox's Perfect Dark project.
That's wild.
Cool. I mean, I guess. I don't know. I mean, that's pretty weird, right? I mean, to leave a game that's not done being directed to go direct another high-profile, high IP game.
I mean, now he left the studio this summer. I remember that news coming out that the director for Wolverine was out.
I mean, I
imagine
imagine Wolverine is mostly like the skeletons are there.
Well, I thought Perfect Dark was pretty far ahead after that trailer we saw this summer.
Maybe it is. I really don't know how far. That trailer was so good. I don't think it's real. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where it's like, I got someone has to get gameplay, their hands on gameplay.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Like, okay, all right,
it's one of the many Xbox IPs that's just kind of floating there, and we're like, well, we're never going to see this.
Yeah, right. It's as playable as South at Midnight at this point. So like swampy game or whatever.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, that swamp Pixar looking game, yeah.
Which actually looks rad, but
looks so cool, yeah.
So that's an interesting switch. I know he left in the summer and he took over, but Wolverine is now being led by the design duo behind Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, totally same tone.
I have
Insomniac,
so
makes
no
sense.
big feeling. I don't have any feelings about that. I don't know. You know, I hope that's a good move for everybody.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where sometimes in certain situations, the game director from start to finish really does make a difference. I'm not saying that they don't. In this case, you just can't really tell. Like, how far along is this already? That they're just there to take the helm and make sure things.
Well, and there's only like a half a dozen developer or directors in the industry that you're like, oh, he's so synonymous or she is so synonymous, like with the project. Like your Amy Hennigs, your Kojimas, your Sam Lakes, you know. It's just like, there's not a lot of those people, you know. So it's like these Ratchet and Clank guys and Wolverine guys, like I don't really know these people's names, and like maybe they're just interchangeable and maybe we don't feel a difference at all. Maybe it doesn't affect anything. I don't think these are like high profile people, but I could be completely wrong and that could be pretty mean to say.
Or maybe it changes everything.
Maybe it changes everything. Yeah, maybe it's so important, you know.
You could also look at the quality. I mean, was it Rift Apart? You said
Rift Apart.
I mean, that's a quality game.
High quality video game. Yeah,
it is
well directed. I guess it came out. It came out on time and it looked sharp. So
yeah. There you
go. So Nintendo is launching a music app. It's going to feature decades of Nintendo soundtracks. I think it's out now.
It is out. It is out. Yeah, because I've seen people tweeting about it or blue skying because that's a new social media platform. But for real though, Blue Sky is actually pretty great. Fuck Twitter. All right, I'm just gonna straight up say it. Elon Musk is a giant douche.
I've never had a Twitter. I couldn't even tell you what the Twitter is.
What's a Twitter?
It's something a bird does.
Got it.
Yeah, but anyways, Blue Sky is actually pretty chill so far. So.
Okay, cool.
This is nonsense, Tim. This is such Nintendo nonsense. Like,
well, this is like on. Didn't they just release like an alarm app too, like recently?
No, they released an alarm clock that launches.
Alarm clock, excuse me.
Holiday. Yeah, called Alarmo.
Alarm. I'm alarm-ode.
Just let them. Yeah, you just gotta let Nintendo cook sometimes. You know what I mean? You just gotta let them do their thing.
Yeah, get the bad ideas
cooked.
out. Sometimes I look at them like, you know what? This is good. Let's get all the bad ideas out.
Yeah, they gotta have an alarmo so we get like a Metroid Prime 4. You know what I mean?
How do we get an alarm before the thing? Remember that finger clamp?
Pokemon Sleep? Where it's like
or that
Pokemon will like come to you while you're asleep. Like I had no idea how that app works, and like that came and went. You know, like they just have these like weird ideas. I'm just like, just let them do it. They just got to get these ideas out. So,
but this is just dumb though because there's literally plenty of platforms that you could just put your music on. Like, why are you making people download?
This is so Nintendo though. Like. We want our own proprietary launcher to like launch our IP. You know, like that is so. We don't want you streaming our games. We don't want you listening to our music on Spotify. We don't want you listening to our music on YouTube. They're just so like I don't know. They're so tyrannical about that stuff. It's so crazy.
And maybe this is like hypocritical because we've had the conversations about shoot, where the hell was I going with that? I can't remember now. I lost my train of thought.
So they are building it off of Spotify and Amazon Music and these other platforms that people like to use. And it kind of has it's a separate app you could download on your smart device, and you log in with your Switch Online account, and you have access to it if you have Switch Online.
That's what I was thinking
already.
about like creating accounts for like things, like, oh, you got to buy this game, create an account. And we've had the conversation about how like people are kind of whiny about that, but like, I don't know. It's like, this is just music though. It's like, it's literally just your music. There's all these convenient ways to like have that be out there. You can have it on multiple of them, so that the reach goes even further.
Yeah.
You're just trying to pigeon. You're trying to like pigeon.
All right, so I just downloaded it, and I'm just gonna give it a try. So
okay, there you go.
The home screen kind of has this vibe to it. Okay, let's pick
Yeah.
something.
Oh, you didn't have to make an account or anything?
I just had to sign in with my Switch Online account.
Oh, okay.
You have to have a Switch Online, be a Switch Online
Sure.
member in order to use it. And my phone already remembered my login, so it said, "Do you want to log in as Nestor Funk?" And I said yes. So that part was pretty easy. Let's see what happens
We're doing this
here.
live. We're doing this live.
So you hit play.
Yeah. I mean, don't actually play it. Nintendo will come for us. So.
We will go to jail.
We will go all the way to jail.
Straight to jail.
So and it's got
our
it's got
accounts are
little
banned from playing anything Nintendo again.
Once you click on a game, it's got playlists very much like you'd see on Spotify. So if you go to Super Mario Wonder, there's a lot of tracks in that game, so it has them separated by musical courses, worlds, extended. Like I don't know, they have like categories within. So they're trying to make it look like a library of music like you would have. But like, I'm with you in one sense. Just put it on Spotify or somewhere else, and like
just on
make
all
people
the things.
Yeah, put it on all the things, but that just wouldn't be very Nintendo, like at all.
No, it wouldn't, and that I'm not surprised. It's
they
just
have the mood playlists: powering up, break time, walking, running, good night, setting the scene with title themes, boss battles.
Cool. That's cool. I like that.
I kind of like this one. There's a section on here where you can like select between these boss battles or whatever. How well you can read that? It's pretty blurry.
It's very blurry, yeah.
I mean, at the very least, they definitely put in the effort to make it feel like a thing. Like they made it a thing. Like there's all the different. I mean, years and years and years of music too.
This is the running music. Imagine running to that.
I can't hear anything.
Oh, you can't?
No.
Oh. I'm surprised. Oh,
Tim's just imagining it.
I just got a notification. Music is detected, and I had to change some kind of sound setting if I want it to be heard. Dang.
See, even now, Nintendo's like, we're not letting you. We're not letting.
Nintendo's hacking Tim's.
No, this is
PC.
actually Skype looking out for us. They're like, you don't want to do this. Don't do it.
Miyamoto's wrath. You don't want Miyamoto's.
So
I like how Skype like its algorithm knows. It's like, this is Nintendo music. We gotta stop it.
Yeah, this is Nintendo. Don't let it play. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna give that another look later. We'll see. I don't want another separate app to play different tunes, but on the other hand, I do kind of like the way they've got like, I want to go listen to all boss battles or title themes. That kind of stuff's kind of cool. I do like that.
You could probably find all of those playlists on Spotify. So
or YouTube.
I do like that. It is like it is crafted by Nintendo though. So
I use a lot of YouTube for that kind of stuff too, because someone out there has put together the compilation that I'm thinking
that's
of.
someone's entire life. Like I like video games because I like compiling music. Like that's.
Yep.
So there's a lot of people out there.
Agreed. 100%. Apparently Call of Duty is doing super well to the point that Microsoft's quarterly gaming revenue is up 43%, which is no surprise at all because Call of Duty is like the biggest thing. And they're saying it's their biggest Call of Duty release ever, but I don't know if that is because of the number of players on Game Pass, where a lot of people are playing it. But I do know that their Game Pass subscriber additions are skyrocketing, which totally makes sense.
Day before, day of, and day after, it was
the real question is, what's the drop off going to look like? Will people stay subscribed, or do they want to play Call of Duty for a month or two? You know what I mean? Like, how much will they stay subscribed? So, because it's better to pay $15 and then play Call of Duty for a bit and then cancel. So, how many people are doing that? We don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah. Apparently sold just as much, like no dips on PS5s then. So it's like Sony, like the same amount of it's not like people like drop their Sony consoles. Like me, there's not a lot of me's out there who are not buying it on PlayStation and went over to Game Pass and paid it instead. Apparently, like sales numbers haven't dipped at all. So that's good. You know,
That's really good. Yeah.
They're still making that
feels
money, so.
weird to like cheer on this like game, like it's selling really well, yay, you know, like because it's like it's Call of Duty, like
I know,
whatever. But there is kind of a like Microsoft must be having an "I told you so" moment right now, right? They must be having kind of like an internal like,
I guess
we did it, you know. But like, yeah, what
Yeah.
we shouldn't probably be too excited about that.
Part of me
know?
just
like,
also wonders, like, okay, but to what end? Like, am I really on the team of this massive corporation?
That's what I mean. Yeah, there's
purchasing
like it feels
everything? I don't
icky
know.
to be like, yeah, all right,
Yeah.
Nintendo or Microsoft won the day, you know.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, like, go ahead.
all those other people.
I was, especially after all that. You know?
I thought PlayStation came off looking pretty dumb during most of those proceedings, but that doesn't mean I thought it was good that Microsoft was doing this. I just thought PlayStation came off kind of very Nintendo-like in how they were acting.
Dumb, like maybe that's the part of me that feels kind of excited that Microsoft is kind of winning because it's kind of like in your face, Sony. But like again, like what do I care? Like I don't know. Like, but there is a piece of me that's just like, yay, but ooh,
but ew. Hey, you guys ever been to Shake Shack?
Love it. Shake Shack's one of my favorite places.
Apparently, they're bringing back a World of Warcraft inspired menu, including a tankard, a 20th anniversary tankard. They're going to be giving away.
Cool.
Sure. So I think I've been to Shake Shack maybe once, and I don't know if that's happening everywhere. That could just be in certain regions. You know, that's probably how it's going. But Ubisoft is letting everyone know that, guys, we're not going to delay Assassin's Creed Shadows again. Like it was just one. So I don't know why they're saying this, but that makes me now
guys,
go
listen.
like. I'm like, they're gonna delay it again. That's what I
really need everyone like there at Ubisoft. Everyone can talk about the game, like us. Like talking about the game is fine, but like Ubisoft just needs to stop talking about this game.
Yeah.
And like, and I'm really like, dude, I have nothing but excitement for this game. It's Assassin's Creed Samurai. We've all wanted it forever. I'm excited about it, but like at this point, everything's on fire. Just stop talking about it. You know, like it
really is.
Totally.
I feel like every time someone opens their mouth over there, it's just like the whole internet's just like, all right, guys. Get them, like you know, and it's just like you have to realize that at this point, and just shut up, you know, just be quiet.
They just don't though, and
they
especially
just can't help themselves. Yeah, it's just so crazy to me.
Yeah.
And they released like a crypto game this week too. I think.
Yes, they did.
An NFT,
NFT game.
The Web3 game.
Oh my god, yeah.
And just don't.
Champion
you guys just need to shut up over there. Unless you're talking about Splinter Cell, I don't want to hear shit from you guys. You know.
Yeah, it's for real. That's
just out of control. Like you were just talking, like Hulst, Herman Hulst's the thing. These people just can't talk like people. Like what happens? Do they get dunked into like some kind of like thing, and then they come out and they shake them off, and they're a robot person?
It's almost like Chat GPT like makes some of these speeches and like HR hands them like you have to say this, and they're like this doesn't make any sense. They're like you got to say it. Sorry.
You got to say it. Go say the words.
We put it through a lot of algorithms and filters. This is the easiest.
You see those words? Go read them.
Is there information out there to them that says like if you just talk like a normal human being to these human beings that like bad things are gonna happen? Like I don't get it.
Like Corpo Speak has been around forever and it's never been healing. Yeah, it's just never.
Like,
and like how have you never fixed it? You know,
the one space where you see it starting to kind of like take over, I think, is in a lot of the news space where most news channels have hardly any viewers anymore. Everyone's watching conversational podcast or creators or smaller like digital only channels. That's what people are usually watching for. Anyway, so you're seeing it happen there as well, for sure.
This is not new to Ubisoft either. Remember the whole Prince of Persia Sands of Time debacle?
Yes.
It's coming, it's not coming. We dunked it. We restarted it. Hey, it's just, and like every little thing that they chose to do with that game was announced. And it's just like, please stop talking about that game.
Just stop. Yeah.
That was 8 years ago. They announced like it's so long ago.
If they do bring back Sands of Time, I'm there, man. I love that game.
You don't need to talk about this game at all. Just release it. It is such a good video game. Yeah.
Such a good game. Such a good game. Those actually, that whole trilogy, that PS2 kind of 360.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what consoles it came out on. Was it PS2 originally or was it 360?
It was PS2.
PS2. Yeah, PS2.
And then
the first three. Yeah.
And then the Prince of Persia standalone one was a 360 PS3 game, right?
Yeah, the cell shaded one.
Like cell shading.
Yeah, that was 360 PS3.
Okay. I loved all those games, by the way. They were all really fun.
I like the really edgy one with the Godsmack song. I thought
that was the. I think that was like
so moody. Oh my god. Stand alone. Yeah.
You guys
All
remember
over the marketing.
back in ancient Persia when they had a lot of like hard rock? You know what I'm talking about?
And that song would just kick on, lyrics and everything, and I'm like, come on.
Like, what is this? A Madden football game? What are we doing?
So edgy. Like, I was being very facetious when I said, but I did like that game a lot. It's not my favorite of the series.
I love it. All right. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about Black Ops 6 when we talk about things that we're currently playing, but it is cool that they're already talking about season 1. There's going to be a ton of new content. They've already put out new content, by the way. The game will sometimes, on PC at least, it'll open, it'll load for a minute as it says it's updating. Then I think, at least originally, I looked like it was crashing. I was like, great, it crashed. No, it's just resetting because after it
internal
updated.
updates,
And they've been adding a ton of stuff and adding like new little modes. They threw in like a Nuketown 24/7 mode.
Everyone's favorite level.
It's a crazy level. But it's not my favorite, but like
it's not mine either,
some of the modes on there are like just wild to play because it's such a small map. And you'll like kill 30 people, but you'll die 40 times. You know what I mean? Like it's that kind of a match. But
maybe
anyway,
if you suck like I do, those are your numbers. Yeah.
I'm very average at Call of Duty.
Tim was looking at my scoreboard today, I guess.
I'm very average at Call of Duty. I'm like the 1.0 kill death ratio type of player. Like I'll have a couple really good games and I'll have a whole bunch of really bad games.
That's how I am too.
Dude,
and then mostly just mediocre.
Demolishing the first day, and then ever since then I'm like,
I hate to break it to you guys, but those first few matches you play online, bots.
Sure.
That's how
they're.
That's
quiet.
how
that's what Fortnite.
That's how they're gauging your like.
You be quiet.
Compatibility. Yeah.
You be quiet.
So those first few games, I was like, dude, I am mopping up right now, and I do this every year. Like every year, I just forget like that.
I actually have
and then I'll get into a real match, and I'm like, oh yeah, I suck.
I have a much smaller little wave with it. Like I'll actually have little streaks in a match. Like I started a match, I think it was last night I was playing, and I went 13-2 in a hardcore death match, and I was like, I am crushing. And then I ended the game at I think 16-16 because I just went on a horrible streak. There's a lot of those
where I'm like, let's end the match right now. I'm looking so good, and then I flub it in like the second half. Yeah,
and I was like,
I relate to that.
I feel like every time I okay, I respawn. I died a couple times. It's gonna be fine. I would start to run, and then boom, got shot in the side of the head. Like,
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, here we go. Boom, shot in the other side of the head.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's also just the annoying respawn spots. You know, you sometimes.
I feel like the Call of Duty is like the first 6 weeks. They're like tuning that, like, okay, respawns aren't working. Like we're respawning people on top of each other right now, you know.
Well, some of the maps are too small. Nuketown's a good example, but there's a few other ones too that are really small. And they're designed for certain modes, which a small map works great for some modes, but when it comes to respawns, it can be.
There's
really
plenty
rough.
of times where the map's too big for certain modes, and I'm like, guys,
that's true. That's very true.
Yeah.
But November 14th is when season 1 kicks off. I don't know exactly how the Black Ops 6 multiplayer, Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer, and Warzone, I don't know how all those relate to each other, but apparently sometimes each one gets updated with content from the other. Sometimes I don't know how it works.
Kind of does, yeah. They're basically standalone. Like they're like when you log into Modern Warfare 3, like your stats from that will come in. You know, like Warzone. I think like Warzone, like 3, like you'll be the same character or whatever, or you have the same progression, if you will. Like with I don't know, man. It's really confusing. They turn it into a hub. Like Call of Duty's a hub now.
So many windows. So many windows.
And it
took me a minute, right? It's like a Call of Duty hub, but then I do like some of the things that are pretty intuitive, where it's like the last thing you played. Okay, that's cool. If I was playing a campaign,
cool. It is.
Or like what's a hot mode right now? Let me just jump right into that. Like I like some of that stuff. It's pretty good. But they're saying that there's going to be a colossal amount of free content, like all new multiplayer maps and modes. And I do love when there's new maps put out on these games. If I'm playing them, I'm like, ooh, a new map.
With like 16 maps. I mean, it's
a lot of maps. Yeah. And by the way, if you play some of the modes, some of the face-off modes, there's a different collection of maps. They're usually smaller and just crazier. But anyway, they're going to have a new in-season zombies map, and then they're going to introduce this Omni movement and Black Ops 6 weapons that were brought into play with this game. Some of the movement features that are in Black Ops 6, that's being added to Call of Duty Warzone as part of season 1 of Black Ops 6.
Yeah,
so
which I don't know if they're calling
that's where the
Warzone
cross-pollination.
3.0. Like, I don't know, like, is it a completely new? I don't know. Yeah, so we'll see.
Okay. Well, there you go. So there's a bunch of stuff being added to that game, which is great. I got to tell you, I am enjoying it way more than I thought I would. I didn't realize it would bro out this much here in 2024, but here I am
Throwing out.
being the broiest of bros, which is funny because I've been so like the indie tell me a moving story bro for most of the year. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
playing stuff
You
like
got to tip the scales
Banishers
a little
and
bit,
whatever.
right? You got to balance
Yeah,
those scales
I'm
out. You know?
I'm balancing it out on the other side. Played a lot of No
Pop
Man's
open a
Sky.
Mountain Dew, sit back, get your
Yeah.
camo on,
Yeah,
shoot
that's
some,
exactly
shoot
what
some
I'm doing.
baddies, you know? Yeah.
That's
Sit
it.
there in your underwear, you know.
Yeah.
Don't bathe for like 3 days.
I've
you
got
know?
all my gallon
Mom!
jugs of pee sitting all around me on the
Close.
floor. But anyway, but I've really been enjoying it. But we'll talk about that to close things out. Okay. I think that's it for news and headlines and all that. So let's jump in with anything else that you guys are playing. And depending on how many of these things we'll go through, we'll decide if we're going to do a quick round of 20 questions or not. But I'm curious what else you're playing besides the new stuff. We talked a lot about Dragon Age and yeah, Kyle, jump in. You weren't
Please
able
let
to be
Dan go
here.
first. Please let Dan go first.
I just have
yeah.
one thing, so it'll be quick.
Okay.
Renee and I we actually finished Cat Quest like 20 minutes, Cat Quest 3, like 20 minutes before we started recording.
Did it have a good
Three?
pirate finish to that
Yeah,
thing?
3. Yeah, Kyle, it's got like a pirate setting to it, and like actually visually, like it quite a bump up from the first 2. Like it actually is like a really nice, very cutesy
Charming
game.
little game, yeah.
Yeah, very cutesy, but still like actually like detail.
2-player,
like,
or y'all were just playing it together?
Yeah, it's co-op. Yeah, it's
cool.
they're all couch co-op. So like I said before, it's a really nice game to play with like a significant other or like your kid. But yeah, definitely much shorter than 2 is definitely the longest. I would say 2 is probably definitely the longest.
That's
but
your next
like,
blind ranking, Dan, is the Cat Quest trilogy.
yeah, all 3, just all 3 of them. But yeah, no, I liked it a lot actually. It was really nice. And even though it is a shorter game and the map didn't expand, so like what we saw there from the beginning was what it was. But there was like the right amount of stuff in the game, whereas 2 definitely felt bloated. Like there was just a lot of like, go to this spot and this person's like, I lost a thing, go in that cave over there, and then you go in the cave that's kind of generic looking, which is why I appreciate this one, because the caves in this one look like they actually like designed a cave for that spot, instead of just like a blank slate.
You do your
and some
caves
paths.
and cliffs right. Dan's on board.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
what is a cave wall if not just a cliff? You know what I mean? So
Sure. Yeah. That's probably why
point.
the third one excites me. More detail in those caves.
Yeah. By the way, Dragon Age, great cliffs. Pretty good
There's
cliffs
some,
in that.
some
Ooh.
fantastical cliffs.
Yeah,
Okay.
really good looking. Anyway, sorry
Okay.
to deviate. Yeah.
The new game of the year
Yeah.
category we're adding this year, by the way.
We might have to have a cliff category.
Remember when I did that year best asses in video games? I
Yeah,
should
that's right.
I should do best cliffs
You
in
should.
video games. I should do
Yeah.
best cliffs.
Cliffs.
But yeah, Cat Quest 3 is really cute, really fun. Spoiler alert, it's not over though. Like the whole I thought that this was going to be like a trilogy. I really thought we were heading in that direction. It's not over.
Wow,
fourth
ends
one.
on a cliffhanger.
Spoiler
You're
alert.
first.
Spoiler alert.
Man.
But no, it actually was really
Does the
fun.
Kraken
I really liked
eat
it.
Jack Sparrow at the end? You know what I mean?
I can't tell you. I
Okay.
can't confirm or deny. Can't confirm or deny.
Fair enough.
Also, actually, so I will say this: there is a really fun little side quest thing. You go into a castle. So the game is like hand drawn. It's just like really sharp hand drawn visuals. But you go into a pixelated world. Like the castle on the outside is actually like jittery and glitchy. And I thought there was actually something wrong with the game. I was like, why is that like jittery? And then you go in there, it's all like 8-bit. And the music suddenly changes to 8-bit. And let's say it's a little homage to a certain Castlevania series called Castlevania. So like the actual the Batcula actually does a cute little reference to Symphony of the Night. No, not is it Symphony? Or the beginning of Symphony of the Night. What is a man?
Yeah,
But,
Symphony of the Night.
Yeah. So they do. Yeah, he
Remember that
does like
great voice acting that we had back then?
excellent voice acting.
So good.
So yeah, I thought that was actually really cute. I was like,
Hey,
oh,
listen, I grew up with
really
voice
cool.
acting that was just like this. Round 1, fight. Like
Fight!
that was my.
Yeah,
That was
I think my tolerance levels growing up like an anime kid watching bad dubs and stuff like that. Like I can really deal with some pretty bad voice acting and not clock it at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
But
when the N64 added things like, Wahoo! From Mario
Oh,
jumping.
sure, Mario. Yeah.
Mario
yeah.
makes noises.
What?
He says stuff. But yeah, Cat Quest 3 is fun. Is fun. So.
Oh, that game looks adorable, man. That's a good
Cute.
call out.
Yeah, it's good.
All right, so I'll go through mine really quick. At least I'll try to. Played a lot of Call of Duty this week. I'm towards the end of the campaign, but I'm also not in a hurry to play. I really do like the campaign a lot. There's a couple levels in there that I was like, they really delivered. Like they brought back the campaign with the vengeance. Was it 5
So
that didn't
good.
have one? Black Ops
I don't
5?
know. It was one of the Black Ops games.
Yeah, it was either 4 or 5. I think it was 4, which is the one I was
I think
saying
it was 4 because
played.
5 was Cold War. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's
So
exactly.
5 had some pretty big story moments because I remember playing 1 and 2 and kind of knowing like who Frank Woods is and Mason and some
Yeah,
of these
I
other
remember
Black Ops
Mason.
characters. But things have happened to a bunch of them, and in 6, all of a sudden it's like, whoa, some people are missing and some people are different now. Like there's just some changes for sure that I just didn't know the whole Black Ops story. So I thought that
Yeah,
anyway,
I didn't
the
either. I'm
story
totally lost in the story, but I am loving it. So.
the story is I find it to be really compelling, very much kind of like a it's almost like watching something like 24 where you've got
Mm.
these rogue agents who there's the enemy within or whatever, like there's who knows what's happening, so you kind of have to take the power in
You're
your own
having to kind of
hands.
team up with kind of like the bad guy a little
You got
bit
to team
too,
up
you
with
know?
some bad
Yeah.
guys for sure because
Yeah.
there's definitely some reveals and they're very cinematic Call of Duty way. They do a good job at revealing a couple of things that are like, oh, hey, that person's not so good. Like there's a couple, and then there's this one sequence, and I won't spoil it too much, but let's just say it feels like they met with the Remedy team and were like, hey, how do we create like a
Oh.
control like level in Call of Duty? And it
Mhm.
is so cool. Now, is
And
it
they
as good as
have levels like this in kind of all the Black Ops where things get like really surreal and
Yeah.
weird and like
Very-
definitely very Lynchian or
yeah, very
Remedy.
non-realistic at all, but there's a reason for it. Like right away at the start of the level, something happens to you, and then now you kind of have this experience.
Mm.
But there's a series of these mini boss fights and this crazy stuff that's happening, and just the design of it. I was like, this has just little touches of being in the FBC building in the Remedy games. But so I liked that part a lot, and there's a lot of touches in the campaign that I'm really enjoying. I
I
think
like
it's
the
really well
Iraq
done.
level a lot, where you're like cruising around on a jeep in like a giant open space, like just
Mm.
like hitting forward operating
Optional
bases
points on your
and-
map if you want to
Oh
go and
yeah, hitting
do some
supply
stuff.
drop, and it's just it's so interesting,
Yeah.
you know, like
Hop out of your Jeep and snipe them from a distance, or charge in and hop out with the machine gun and start mowing,
Yep.
like whatever you want to do. It's really
and
fun.
it is designed where you have to like go back to the base, like your base, to like resupply and like get more C4, and it's just I don't know, it feels like you're in a real. I've never been in the military, but it just feels like a military operation.
It's the real
So,
thing, Kyle. We can say
It's
It
a
sounds
simulation.
like
It's what all of our good men and women go through whenever they go over to Iraq. It's
even
the
like that
exact thing.
Remedy reference that Tim just mentioned. That happens totally in war.
All
like,
of them
Very real.
all go through a Remedy sequence. Yeah.
This sounds like what you just literally said sounds like what they should have done, or at least were trying to do in Modern Warfare 3, and then they just released DLC. Right?
Yeah,
So-
Modern Warfare 3 is definitely like they were like playing around with this idea, but like in just the grossest way possible.
Yeah.
That's such a bummer. That's such a bummer to hear. But I am absolutely loving it. I think the voice acting and the visuals are just, it's top tier. It's what you expect. Like if it were anything less than this, I'd be like, boy, they really kind of stunk this year. But so it's what I expect, but it's like meeting my expectations. And the multiplayer is an absolute blast. Like it's still Call of Duty multiplayer. There's moments where you're like, well, that's pretty annoying that people can take advantage or exploit that kind of weakness of the system or whatever. That still can happen in certain modes by certain players, whatever. But generally speaking, the little dopamine drip of getting another unlock, and like getting cooler things put on your emblems and a new operator that you can, pretty much a new skin that you can use.
They drip feed you
for
pretty
each
good.
side.
New attachments.
Oh man, all the new attachments. Oh, I was just
everything
like,
levels up. Everything levels up.
Oh yeah, now I remember this. And then they have these daily challenges, and most of them are doable. And it's like, yeah, I could do that. I could, like, one of them wants you to equip this wild card, which allows you to, because you only attach 5 attachments onto a gun. And so if you use this wild card, that allows you to increase that up to 8. And so then the challenge today was defeat 50 enemies with 8 attachments on your gun using this wild card. And I was like, I could do that. That sounds fun. And so.
Yeah.
So most of the challenges I find to be doable and fun, but yeah, I there's certainly a lot of like sliding and diving around, but it has. I thought that would ruin it for me, the way that Mario Kart and others, when people just like skid back and forth to win, kind of ruins that for me sometimes. I don't find this to be the case. I've actually shot a lot of people that come sliding around the corners.
Oh yeah,
because your instincts start to think like I don't know. You just start to react to it. Okay, they're sliding, so you kind of like aim your gun down and
Well,
just shoot at them.
that or people just like do the laying down flat. Like they'll lay down
Well,
flat because you're shooting up
the
high,
system
right?
everybody agreed on. I mean, this like the community really likes this system, you know. So people like me who hate everything about it, it doesn't matter what I think.
Fair.
Like it is
Dude,
the
I love
thing
sliding
that
around.
the masses. It is the thing that the masses like, you know. Like
yeah.
I'm a tactical shooter guy. Nobody on Earth.
No one slides like this.
No one wars like this. You know?
With their machine gun pointing out in front of them as they slide. It doesn't.
Yeah, with their machine gun that looks like a zebra and it's gold plated and like I'm just out on the whole aesthetic of it. But it is the agreed upon like we've been sliding and
it's the Need for Speed Underground of shooters.
It is, but it's also just like we've been inching towards this every entry. You know what I mean? So it's not a surprise that this is where we're at either. And me not liking it has no movement on it being good or bad. It is good. Everybody agrees for the most part that it's good.
Sure.
And the system is very, very, very there's a lot to it. Like you're probably not omniing in the way that everybody else is or like the good people are.
Did you do the tutorial?
Yeah.
Because okay. I was like both because I don't know because I didn't play Modern Warfare 3.
There's way more than what's in that tutorial. Like there's like and it's just like it's just about being able to control your movements like midair
and then learning what can make yourself as low visible and small target as possible for the enemy. That's really what it's all about.
Yeah, moving constantly, like slow, like exactly.
What's really satisfying
small and
is
fast.
When someone will come and you can either slide or dive, right? So there's the prone button that'll make you dive forward, or there's the crouch button while you're running, which makes you slide. And when people do the head first dive, it can work well. Like you can run, dive forward, and then lay there and shoot. But it is so satisfying.
And then dove out Max Payne style and killed someone like mid. That was like, and dude, like that's cool. I like that. I mean, like
that's what I was going to ask.
Good to shoot someone else in the head as they do it. I've seen them go diving in, and I'm just like, blink, as they're like diving forward towards me. Like that feels pretty good too. Like,
yeah.
But they didn't have this in 3, right? The whole like diving Max Payne style turning around like
no, not like that.
This is the omnidirectional stuff.
But like there was no like pivoting like your body like midair or anything like that.
It's actually kind of insane that this has never just always been a thing. Like you can literally run backwards now. You can run left, right.
Dude, dude, like my attitude would probably change about this game if everybody were running around like if it was like a Matrix like online game and everyone was running around with trench coats and stuff like that. And now I'm like, I love the diving and the slide. It's so cool. And so like it is like a setting / stage thing for me, you know, like but it is very cool. And no matter how you feel about it, unanimously, like it is a well-received system.
But it's just weird to me, like it's like this makes so much sense, and like how has like Call of Duty not had this for years? Like this just feels so natural.
Probably harder, you know, with netcode and everything that's involved. Like it's probably really hard to like develop something like this, you know.
But it clicked. So
it took someone like Treyarch, you know, to figure it out. Like not all the tools over there at the Activision shed are very sharp. You know what I mean? Like Treyarch is kind of like the
they become the head honchos.
Infinity War lost its way, like whenever like you know Respawn got created.
The first Modern Warfare still is like near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
The first one from 2000.
It's fantastic. The first and the second game in that trilogy is fantastic, I would say.
I still remember playing. We had a split level house. We had just had our first kid, and down in the basement was my man cave that I had set up, and I played, and I had the little Xbox 360 headset where you click on mute on the little controller plug-in piece. Like, I played so much on that. I just loved that game.
Dude, when I remember playing multiplayer in that game, and I go, "This is gonna bury Halo," and it did.
It really did.
Modern Warfare was the moment that Call of Duty supplanted Halo as the console.
And Medal of Honor. Medal of Honor disappeared after that.
Dude, Medal of Honor couldn't stand up to it. They released a game called Airborne a little bit later, which was actually very good, but no one gave a shit. Yeah, like everyone had moved on. Yeah.
I do like when you finish a multiplayer match, at least in the past, maybe recent iterations didn't do this, but I really didn't find the kill cam to be all that fun, like the final kill cam. I do like now they do like a highlight of the match.
I like game of the or move of the match or whatever.
It's so cool. You get to see like, did that dude just get 6 kills in a row? Because people happen to line up like.
And then you see yourself getting killed, and you're like, "Oh man!"
Very, very often there's a little yellow thing that says "you," and I'm like, "You."
Yeah, and it's every time. Dude, there's been a few times where they got me twice in the same like.
That's awful.
So you see my dumb "you" pop up twice, and I'm like, "Oh, he got me right
That's
at
a bad
spawn."
respawn. That's a bad respawn.
Running right into the bullets.
Yeah. Sorry, everybody.
It hasn't happened a ton, but there's been, probably a handful of times that I've been the person who had the kill of the match. And dude,
Ooh.
it really does make you feel so good. You're like,
yeah. Yeah.
Like, that was me. I did that. And then you're also kind of like, I hope I didn't do something cheap and like stupid. You know what I mean?
Everyone saw, like, look at this jackass and his dumb tactics. And
like,
you're like, oh.
There was at least one where it was me and my final shot. It went to the super slow-mo at the end. And I saw someone, they just happened to not see me, and I shot beside them probably 6 times before I moved the reticle to hit them. You know what I mean? It was one of those things where like, dun, 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 dun. And I was like,
12 people in that server just got to see that. Yeah.
Crap. But no, I'm having a blast with that. I jumped back into Valheim because they just released this Bog Witch update, which is very similar to what they did with Hearth and Home, where they added, but this is mostly food related, but they do have some build pieces as well. And there's a new vendor in the game. So now you've got a vendor, multiple vendors in the meadows. Now you have a vendor in the swamps and a lot of food stuff. So for example, you can create a feast that can sit on a table. You no longer have to put a stand on the table. You can just set it on the table. And then you can use it up to 10 times and it gives you like a better boost. So like
that's
you
cool.
make
So you can
feast,
pop into camp and take a bite to eat. And,
take a bite and then go. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. You,
of course, like the Sims, you could do that. You could make like an abundance of food for the day.
It is just like the Sims. Yeah.
It's exactly like the
one
Sims
plate for yourself or yeah. But anyway, so that part's cool. I haven't gotten to any of that yet because I decided to go ahead and just start a new run through. So I'm doing that. And I'm loving it. Valheim's the best. I got this game on sale called Contraband Police, which I've mentioned to you guys before. It is a nice combo between sim, but also kind of a double A. Sometimes a little bit of a shooter, sometimes a little bit of a, you drive around a very small confined map in what looks like maybe Western Russia. It's a fictional version of some Russian-like countries. So you do some driving around, you do some shooting sometimes, and you can upgrade that stuff. But you also outfit your officers at your border station that you're in charge of, so you can like hire them. So you have to do some management, and then there's a sim part of it where you actually call a car forward, they hand you the papers, and it gives you all these rules that, did their papers expire yet? Is their photo actually the person that's standing in front of you right now? Like, what cargo did they say they have? Does it match up? Do you have to get all the cargo out of the thing and go scan it really closely? Like, it's a border patrol sim element while also shooting bad guys. And you have to decide, do you support the government? Are you going to follow the rules? Or are you going to let people slip through the cracks and not report them? Are you gonna like be honest on your inspection reports, or because you could get busted for it? So it's very much like a sim game, but also there's a campaign element where there's actually a story, mild storyline going on. I think it's pretty fun. I like Contraband Police, so I'm having a good time with that one. I did finish Echoes of Wisdom, the Legend of Zelda game. I'm not sure if I talked about it on this show or not. I know I had played it more last week, but I did finish it, and as I finished it, I thought back to what Dan had asked me about it. And yeah, I did feel by the end it got a little repetitive. I was kind of like ready to be done. You could probably blame that on me because there were plenty of things echoes that I learned that I just never really used because I just got into my little wheelhouse of what I liked. Yeah.
Yeah, you found your sort of favorites.
So I was definitely ready for it to finish, by the time I wrapped it up. But it's a really good game. It really is. It's very good. And then last but not least, I jumped back into Unicorn Overlord. And I'm continuing on with that story there. I just did a big story beat where you reunite with a character that you were separated from for a while in the first act of the game. And then a major story thing happens and it opens up the map where you now have to decide where to go and what to go after first. And there's a lot of game left. As soon as they showed the map and like all the regions I have to go to, I was like, oh, I'm never going to finish this game.
Yeah. I felt that big time.
Yeah. But it's Unicorn Overlord is excellent, man. Like what
unsung hero of the year for sure.
Oh, it's so good. It's not easy either. There was a boss that I was just banging my head against the wall trying to get just to get him to die, and he kept healing so fast between little battles. Anyway, I did finally. There was like one troop type that I happened to have that did good damage to him, and so I just kept them alive and was able to make it work. But that's strategy games, man. Sometimes you got to find the loophole. Okay, so that's all I've been playing. Kyle, what about you? Anything you've been playing?
I was playing a little bit more of New World, that MMO that came out. Still really enjoying it. There's just who's got time to play that game? You know what I mean? Like it's There's other big stuff that we're playing, and that game really wants to, it's an MMO. It's like
it wants to be
play
your
me,
game.
play me.
Yeah.
I have been playing a lot of Call of Duty Zombies. So Zombies is really good. We didn't really talk about that much with the other
played
modes
any
and
zombie
stuff.
modes yet. I need to get into
Absolutely fantastic. It's so good. 33, round 33 on the like town level. I forget what the name of the level is the highest I've gotten. And it's hard. That game mode's hard. And it's way better than like the DMZ mode Zombies that was like last year, which just sucked. Everything about that game sucked. Yeah. So Zombies, it's been a lot of fun. Definitely check out that mode if y'all haven't checked it out yet. And was playing Metaphor like every day until Dragon Age came out. I got to like the 53-hour mark or something like that. I have like 30, maybe 35 more game days, until I'm like on the last game day of the game. I'm like in the end game, I think. And it does, and this I can't be a spoiler. I just don't think it could be. All the Persona games has this moment where you're like, this game's wrapping up, and then it doesn't wrap up. And that's where I'm at.
It's actually
right
just
now.
the beginning.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now, where I'm like, oh my God. Like, how much more of this could there possibly be?
What is happening?
So even though like there's a number of days in sight, like it doesn't feel like this game is wrapping up anytime soon after the big like switcheroo that happened. Which, by the way, like I'm hitting story moments in that game that are just epic. They're so cool. Love that game so much. It's so crazy that we got like one of the best JRPGs ever made and like a pretty freaking good, maybe even outstanding Western RPG all in the same month. Like, so you're getting like, nice flavors of both, styles of RPGs right now. Metaphor might be on the back burner a little bit while I'm like settling into Dragon Age, but like,
that makes sense.
But one's gonna. I'm like. I mean, I don't know. There might be a time where I'm switching back. I don't know how this is gonna pan out. Maybe I'd never beat either of these games. Who knows? Maybe I get distracted and play. I don't know.
Listen, we got December. Like,
well, maybe Indiana Jones. Distracts me. I don't beat either of these games.
Vacations in December, so
might be
a little screwed in December.
Yeah, you might need to get one of these RPGs.
If I pause all this other stuff to play, no offense to it, but a mobile game port, I don't think I can do it. You know
Tim,
what I mean?
How dare you?
It is a mobile game port.
You're belittling Sakaguchi's work. How dare you?
Sakaguchi made a mobile game, and that's okay.
I would never belittle Sakaguchi, but you guys.
You're a mobile game. So Metaphor's great. I'm really excited. I wasn't excited to end where it was. I was just like, I can't stop now, but I have to.
Right.
So that's been really fun. That's really it. Like those are the games I've been playing. There's a lot of big stuff right now that I'm just like really mad that I'm playing all at the same time. Like I really wish all these hadn't come out at the same time. It's very infuriating to me, but
someone's being pretty rude with these release dates.
Yeah, it's a really dumb thing to be mad about too. Just like really privileged
frankly
thing
need
to be
to
mad
stop.
about.
Yes. All right. Well, instead of doing a round of 20 questions, let's real quick go through what's coming out this month, and you guys say buying it, skipping it. And skipping it doesn't mean you hate it. It just could mean that you're not going to buy it right away. All right. So here we go with the month of November, since we are technically already in that month. But let's see. We've got, and if you don't know, that's fine. You don't have to answer. Farmagia, that farm life simulation game. Familiar with that one?
What?
Nope.
This is a Dan
I
game.
like farm
It's
games, but I don't know what that is.
by Marvelous.
Farmagia?
Yeah.
Farmagia.
Farmagia. Is it about cheese? Like what is
It is
it?
not.
Is
All right,
this
what about
an
this one?
Italian monster?
Fromagia?
What about Metal Slug Tactics?
Yes, buy.
Yeah, I knew you would be
Instant
Kyle.
buy.
Yeah, I knew you would be.
Oh, Farmagia. Okay, this is what it looks like. That anime series. I can't think of what it is now. No, Farmagia is no. That's a no.
Okay, fair enough.
No more
what about
anime farming sims?
What about Planet Coaster 2 coming out November 6th?
Dude, I never even finished my freaking
I'm
park in the
skipping,
first one.
but I will eventually get it because those.
I would like to get. I don't know what's different about this one though. Like I don't know what they're.
Well, what about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Splintered Fate? There's another TMNT game this year.
Wait, I thought didn't one just come out like in October?
Yes.
Then no. On principle, no. It
Listen,
could be the best one.
I love Ninja Turtles, but
Me too.
Stop.
But
Slow
no.
down.
Yeah.
Slow down.
No.
They're not gonna.
Jesus.
They're not gonna stop.
Not
this one
it's
is
a
like
Ninja Turtle Tactics game. Then maybe
this one is a. There's actually a demo for it on Steam, so you can try it out. It's a co-op roguelike, is what they're calling it.
Okay.
And it's an isometric looking
The
game. I kind of
roguelike
like.
Ninja Turtle games, it's a
Listen,
definite skip then.
you said one of the
Absolutely.
words. You said one of the no words, which is roguelike. All right,
Roguelike.
enough roguelikes. All right.
You
Unless you're a
haters.
Hades, I'm out.
That is fair enough. Okay. Hades is so good. Okay.
Or Dead Cells, the other big.
What about Chicken Police Into the Hive?
Oh, Chicken Police!
What?
Eventually, I streamed the first one. Like,
You did.
I think it was early last year. It was pretty early in my streaming career.
Yeah.
Dude, it actually is really interesting, and like
You'll check it
aesthetically, all
out
the
at
characters are outrageous because like
Okay.
the
You'll check
heads
it
are
out.
real looking, and then they
Yeah.
have like human bodies. So
Alright.
it's funny. It's really.
I never
funny.
know when you're joking, Dan, and I love.
No,
that.
I'm not joking. It actually legit was pretty interesting. I actually thought it was interesting.
No, I remember you liking the first
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Well, that's November 7th, along with Mario and Luigi Brothership for the Switch.
Dude, I don't know. Like,
I don't know
I haven't
either.
really seen anything. Like, I don't
Yeah.
really know.
I might buy it at
Absolutely.
Christmas time. I might buy it at
Yeah.
Christmas time. but
Yeah, I'm not gonna get it right away, but yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this series is like, well, never mind. I was gonna be like, it is like the best like RPG. I was like, well, there's other great RPGs, obviously.
Yeah.
It's
check
very,
this
very,
one.
very good RPGs. This
Yeah.
particular series. Yeah.
And then the next day, November 8th, Slitterhead arrives.
I will check it out at some point. I don't know.
That is coming out in 6 days, November 8th.
Game looks cute.
It
That's
does.
so cute. Yeah.
It does. Tetris Forever comes out November 12th. Either one of you gonna
I've
give that one a
played
whirl?
OG Tetris, and that's it.
You're fine.
That's my
Okay.
favorite.
Yeah, that's
I'm
fair
good.
enough.
Yeah.
And I
That's
own
fair
that
enough.
on everything that I've ever owned. So.
What about November 14th when we have Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake?
Yes. The only question is where I'm gonna get it. That's the only.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm getting on PS5 for
Yeah,
sure.
it's coming out to
I need my
PS5,
trophies.
Xbox, PC, and Switch. And then
Yes.
on that same day, November 14th, Lego Horizon Adventures, which I'm a yes for that one.
Okay. Yeah.
Screw Dragon Quest. I'll get Lego.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to see reviews for this one. I like
Hmm.
Lego games a lot, so I'm
Yeah.
a pretty big sucker for them.
Yeah, that's fair. Stray comes to the Switch. No, sorry, I'll skip ahead. Let's see. We've got Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl is supposed to hit on the 20th.
It's on Game Pass, so yes. Yeah.
Same here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I will check it
definitely.
out. Yeah.
Good
I
shot.
think I will get frustrated and quit it pretty quickly, but I will check it out.
That's fair. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. Raven's Watch, I guess, hits 1.0 release later
Sure.
this month. I think that's pretty much it. Let me just double check here. So November, especially with Assassin's Creed moving out of it, it's a collection of. There isn't a whole lot of like the huge AAA.
No, which is weird.
Games.
Like, yeah, November is feeling kind of empty for November, especially for a game. You could have moved some of these games from October to November, couldn't you have? Like, I feel like
Yeah,
something could have slipped.
I agree.
I said
But
no.
if you go look
Mario
at the
Jamboree could have gotten pushed in. Like, come on, like nothing could have gotten pushed in.
if you look at Steam's release date, there's a whole bunch of games that look very interesting, but I can't speak to whether or not they're going to be good. But they're coming out over the next 3-4 weeks. Some of them look really great. There's a Metro Awakening VR game. Interesting. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Anything else? I'm glancing through. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. It's gonna be one of those months where I'm gonna be catching up, and then there's gonna be 1 or 2 games that comes out. I'll be like, guys, this just came out. This is amazing. Like that's absolutely gonna happen this month, because there's a whole bunch on this list for the Steam upcoming games that I'm like, this could be good. That could be good. I have no idea. There's probably some DLC for something that I don't know is about to drop, and I'm gonna be like, oh crap, now I have to go play that.
Well, Star Wars DLC comes out in November, so
Yeah, that's right.
yeah.
And
Get
they're
your
supposed to,
Lando on.
and it's supposed to be potentially an update to the game as well, right? To improve some things, maybe.
Yeah,
possibly?
yeah, right. You just literally have to listen for Ubisoft to say something. I'm sure they're talking about it constantly, so
They
it's kind of their thing.
they kind of need to shut up a little bit.
Yeah, we fixed it. It's like, yeah, okay, all right, yeah, guys, another patch coming in. We're fixing it. Okay, yeah.
All right, guys. All right, I think that's pretty much it for what's coming out in November. But listen, I'm not like needing more. By the way, it's not like I'm completely full. I don't need any more food. You don't need to keep
plate's
serving me
full,
stuff.
yeah.
Like I am very
I'm
full.
not hungry.
But that being said, it's always good to keep an eye on what is on the horizon. But that does it for us this week. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Dan, for being here. And next week, we're just going to talk probably more Dragon Age Veilguard, unless one of us happens to play Mario or Slitterhead, two very similar games that drop back to back.
Yeah, what a companion those two games are. Yeah,
basically mirror images of one another.
It reminds me of the Animal Crossing Doom co-release.
Yeah.
It's just the best. But anyway, thank you guys for listening. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Oh, before we go check us out on Discord. We just revitalized our Discord channel, our server. So go to the current gen Discord server. Go ahead, Dan.
I was gonna say you just put the link. It's really difficult to find server. So the link
in the comments section.
Yeah, in the
comments. The link will be in the description, and we'll put it in the comments. But please go join. We want it to be a very positive place. If you're gonna be a super negative meanie head, we're gonna kick you out. But it's gonna be a very positive place for people to be able to talk with each other, game with each other, and we're just trying to kind of get a refresh on our community a little bit. So we're excited about it. But thank you guys for watching, listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.